All right, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 World Tour. We are picking up from where we kind of crash landed last time. Got a new plane, as you can see. That crash landing may or may not have necessitated the need for a new airplane, so we're giving this one a shot. A Cessna. We are starting in midair, so we're going to just say we took off from a local airport. So I don't think there really is too many local airports near Denia, Spain, which is where we stopped last time. As I'm recording this, it is Sunday, December 22nd at 10:10 a.m. Eastern Time. I have moved the time to the local time in Denia, Spain, or however you pronounce it, to about 11 a.m., so we'll have plenty of daylight. I think it's live weather, but I'm never really sure of that. When I change the time, it seems to be super clear most of the time when I do that, so I'm not sure this is live weather, but we're going to continue on. I think we're going to try to get to Ibiza, or Ibiza, however you pronounce it. I'm probably mispronouncing all these foreign places every time I say them, but that's an island off the coast of Spain that we're relatively close to. Let me pull it up on the map here because there is another island close by. If I can get to the right spot. Here we go. So I think, yeah, we're by Denia, or however you pronounce it. We're going to try to fly by Ibiza. And then I think maybe also try to get to Palma, Mallorca. The island of Mallorca, maybe Menorca, but then we want to get back to Valencia, so there's not really a great way to do that. Maybe I'll fly along the southern coast of Ibiza, fly along the southern coast of Mallorca, then fly back on the northern coast of both islands, and then head over to Valencia. And then after that, that's probably all we'll get to today. But then after that, we'll head northeast along the southern coast of Spain towards Barcelona eventually. We will be listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show as usual. We'll be listening to the Monday, December 16th episodes, the Wednesday, December 18th, and Thursday, December 19th episodes, the last 3 episodes they've done. So before we start flying, let me fire that up, and we'll get going.
Today's show, we'll catch up with Wilbon about all the big things from this weekend, especially up and down the I-95 corridor, which he hates. And we'll also chat with Sally Jenkins to get our thoughts on Bill Belichick taking his talents to Chapel Hill. But first, commerce.
From the moment I stepped on board, I was struck by the
Cuban just invested $1 million in this company.
Previously on the Tony Kornheiser Show.
He knew this bet was going to cash for a while. That maybe he splurged and he went out and got like a serious post-Thanksgiving, turkey, cranberry, stuffing, the whole 9, knowing that Woody Johnson's going to buy him that sandwich back, 5 or 6 fold. That's what we should do as Americans, is have Woody Johnson buy us lunch, because he certainly can't buy a competent football team.
The Tony Kornheiser Show is on now.
Though they won yesterday.
They did.
Though Aaron Rodgers executed and engineered 2 touchdown drives in the fourth quarter. Each time he was behind and each time he went ahead. Now they beat a bad team. Jacksonville. They beat a bad team. But they won. I'm just saying. All right, a bunch of things to talk about. Small, little things. Nigel brought this over today. Describe what this is.
That is a mug.
A mug.
With your picture on it, battling moths.
Giant moths.
Giant moths, like some science fiction
Scary
film.
moths.
Yes.
It says, Mr. Tony versus the moths. Who sent us that?
That's from Chad Williams. I think somebody sent us in some artwork that it might have even been Chad that did it. Sent us in a rendering of what this would look like, and it was that exact same sort of stuff.
And we also have gummy bears.
We also have gummies from Spencer Thompson. Yes.
Spencer Thompson. This is not in English because these are made in Germany.
I believe in Germany, yes.
And these are called Tiergarten. I don't know what that means.
I want to check the ingredients on those.
Yeah, well, the ingredients are not in English.
Okay, let's have Nigel
In
try
other words,
first.
it's Glucksellerup Zucker, Fruitschaft. It's not.
That's fructose right there.
Yeah,
there
I understand what it is in English, but it's something else. So we're grateful for that.
Gummiland.
Let me get to a couple of things here. Once a year, I go to Staples. I go to Staples to buy a calendar. A calendar, one of those large book calendars that gives you the ability to write in every single day. And I do this, it's essentially keeping a diary. I do this every day. I wait a couple of years after I've done it, and then I throw it out. But I do it every day.
You don't have an archive of these?
No, I throw them out. I do it because my impressions of things are not that important, and they will change in time, and I will forget them anyway.
As I grow older, what I appreciate the most is when I'm in the room with you, as you're looking at me, writing into your diary, and I just see you start to drift away, and I just wonder, what's he writing about?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I go and I buy this one thing. It costs about $35. It's a large diary. That's what it costs. It's the only time I go to Staples. I go in December when I realize it's December and I'm running out of days and I've got to get another one of these things.
Up against the clock.
So I go to Staples, and this is the Staples on Wisconsin Avenue in Chevy Chase, Maryland, right? Or is it called Bethesda? I think it's called Chevy Chase.
Yes.
In that complex, the Staples has been there for longer than many of the stores have been there. They even opened up Oarsman. Oarsman has a dealership in that basic complex, and there is a garage. And you drive down Bradley Road.
Oh, this garage.
You make a right-hand turn into this garage.
No, you can't.
It's a terrible garage.
It's awful.
It is made for cars that were built in the 1930s.
The worst is I think it's two garages that they combine together, so you have to make sure you're actually parking underneath the stores you want to visit.
It is one of the worst garages known to mankind. And the only thing that made it palatable to me was I would go very early when the store would open, and I would get in the garage and I would leave. I went yesterday, and there was a jam to get into the garage. I was the sixth car to get into the garage, and then as I was moving up, it's an automatic gate and you get a ticket. As I was moving up, the spaces were all filled in. So it was basically a parking lot outside the parking lot.
Are you trapped at this point?
I am trapped. I can't get in and I can't get out. I finally get in and nobody's moving, because there are no spaces. And you know why there are no spaces? I realized this. I realized this as I finally got a space and almost hit my car into another car because they're so small, these spaces. And cars are bigger now. I finally realized why. As I got on the elevator and there were a whole bunch of people holding yoga mats because it's a yoga joint now. And that means that every single hour, more people are going in and getting out, and they're in the parking lot.
And that protected early morning is probably the worst.
It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah,
they opened at 10 yesterday. I was there at 10:05. It's gone.
Now, did you try out the hot yoga class?
No, I don't want to go to yoga. Yoga's awful for me.
Just a little block.
It's not good for me. So I realized now I'm never going back. That's it. That was my last time ever in Staples.
Yeah.
Because that
I feel like we say
parking
this every year or two.
No.
What, in a parking lot
is yoga.
Parking lot like that. What is your game plan? Are you going to back in?
I want to back in, but I had no space to back in, and I had people behind me. I had no time. I had no space.
No, you got to turn out and create an angle.
It was just awful.
Don't you want to just park on Bradley Boulevard?
There's no spaces there because people
Keep it
know
running.
the yoga is happening. There's no spaces anywhere. I didn't know. I had no idea. So now I'm never going back. I also got a ticket over the weekend. I got one of those.
A camera ticket?
Yeah. I don't like camera tickets. I don't know how to fight them. I don't know how to fight them. Now this one
Were you in the wrong?
I don't know.
Okay.
This one was for speeding on Reservoir Road. And I was headed to Georgetown Hospital. I know exactly where I was, and I know exactly what time it was, and I know exactly what I was doing. And it said I went 36 in a 25.
It's convenient.
I paid it. And I get about 6 of these a year for stop signs, and
You're up to 6 a year?
I'm about 6 a year, and Carol gets 4 or 5 a year.
Rolling stop at Fessenden?
Yeah, Fessenden all the time. I don't take Fessenden anymore. I've lost about $800 to Fessenden Street. I don't take
Eventually
it.
you learn. You say,
I don't take it
I'm not
anymore.
good
I don't take it. But this one, I didn't see any camera on this one, on Reservoir Road. And 36 in a 25. Come on. You shouldn't even be 25 to begin with. 36 in a 25. And you're coming down another. It angered me. I would fight it, except I don't know how to fight it. I mean, I'm saying, no, I wasn't going that fast. I can't say that. I can't prove what I was doing.
It's very difficult to prove you're in the right with
Yeah.
those. And if you challenge it, and I could be wrong in this, but I think then, if you're then found guilty or whatever, then points get attributed to your license and stuff like that. So that's really encourage you just to take the plea deal and say, yeah, sure.
I've had it happen where I've been directed around certain things or told to go through because of road work and or ambulances, and there's really no way to document that if you're trying to fight it. So I just view this as the tax of living in the city. I try and limit it.
Yeah.
But then you realize if you are driving through from Maryland, Virginia, out of state, they never pay any of these.
No, they don't pay them. I have to pay them because I could lose my license because I live in the district. But I don't know that I was going 36. I may very well have been going 36. It seems sort of chintzy, 36 and a 25. It seems like they put 25 up there just to get this. But there was a picture of my car, so there were obviously
It seems like you were
cameras.
probably going 38 plus or going
Maybe.
under 35.
Maybe.
To hit that
Maybe.
number exactly
Yeah, so
with
I
the 10
don't,
mile an hour grace.
I don't know. It's another thing that's annoying.
It's
another thing that's annoying all the time.
Just leave the credit card on file.
The games were great yesterday. God, the
Easy
games.
pass.
The late
They just
afternoon
got better.
games. Late afternoon games were all great. I didn't watch one play of the night game. I'd had enough football.
Yeah.
Chuck Todd got crushed.
Yeah.
Chuck Todd was 1-6. Do you know what Chuck Todd is in the last
Last couple of weeks, he's really taken it tough.
Chuck Todd is 2-11-1 in the last 2 weeks, and he's still 14 over. He's still our leader.
Tells you what a great
We
year
ought to
he's
get
had.
Chuck Todd in here on Wednesday.
Yes.
We ought to FaceTime with Chuck Todd.
Yes.
And say, what's happened to
If we had a
you?
real producer.
Yeah,
One
if
and
we did,
6.
if only.
1-5-1 last
I'll
week.
make some
1
phone
and 6 this week. Jeff Ma 2-4, 2-3 at the moment. Carville making a slight comeback. He's 3-1 at the moment, awaiting 2 bowl games. One of which I never heard of. The Scooters Coffee Frisch Bowl. What is that?
Have a good coffee ice cream.
What is that? And I don't even know when it is. It's the 17th. Is that coming up soon?
I believe that's tomorrow.
Memphis, he took Memphis over West Virginia. Then he's got the Art of Sport LA Bowl the next night. I've never heard of
The
these.
history of that bowl
What
is just
what is
tremendous.
T-Boy guiding him to? All right, I just wanted to mention one other thing and I'll
Well,
get out of here.
for the afternoon games yesterday, bigger statement: the Eagles game or the Bills one?
Bills. They went on the road and they beat the best team in the league, the team we thought was the best team in the league. And let me stake out this position that I have right now early on this. Here's why that would be a great Super Bowl. Because these are heartbreak teams. Detroit has never been to the Super Bowl. Detroit has never been to maybe they have been to the conference final, I don't know. But Detroit hasn't won a championship since 1957. That's a long time. That's 66 years. Buffalo's been to the Super Bowl a lot and never won. Buffalo's won a lot of playoff games and never won the big prize. And so those two teams would have your sympathy. And whoever won, that would be nice. The other team you'd feel badly for, but whoever won, you would say, finally, that's very nice.
Yeah.
So I would like to see a Super Bowl with those teams. Josh Allen has 10 touchdowns in the last 2 games. They have 90 points. You know what you worry about? They peaked too soon.
A little bit.
That's what you
When
worry
they start
about.
bringing out the stats about
90.
the highest scoring game of the season that they just broke after setting
40
the week before.
The week before.
And by the way, for all that,
They had the
Video game
highest
mode.
score of a losing team.
yeah.
So.
And Goff had
Played great. They had
almost
450 yards.
Yeah,
Played great.
5 touchdowns
He
himself.
played great.
Yeah, that
So-
was.
Includes 2 attempts at the onside kick.
That was wonderful to watch. Wilbon went crazy, hated the onside kick, called me up
Are you worried
immediately.
about the Lions' injuries?
I don't. Wilbon will. That's why we have Wilbon on to talk about these things. All right, we'll take a break. Wilbon's on the show today. Sally's on the show today. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Attention sports enthusiasts, keep the adrenaline pumping and elevate your game day with Chumba Casino. It's completely free to play. And a fantastic free welcome.
Your time and
ChumbaCasino.com and make every day a Chumba day. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. TNC supply.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is the Grammarly read. Your time and expertise are valuable, and with professionals spending nearly half the work week on written communication, focus is one of the most important things to have at work. With Grammarly as your AI writing partner, you can stay focused and get through your work faster with relevant, real-time suggestions wherever you write. And you can download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. Look, I can write. I do it for a living. I understand that a lot of people have difficulty writing, and this kind of stuff helps. I don't know if it helps focus. I mean, I just think it takes away your fear, because you see there are a lot of suggestions out there that make your life a little bit easier if you're involved in writing. How would you like to get more done without sacrificing quality? Well, Grammarly helps with any writing, from brainstorming to sounding more confident and persuasive at work. In fact, 90% of professionals say Grammarly has saved them time writing and editing their work, and 4 out of 5 professionals say Grammarly helps them gain buy-in and action through their communication. Get more done with Grammarly. Download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That's grammarly.com/podcast.
You're listening to The Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is sent to us by Al Kaufman, who says, my friend from high school, Mike Denia, is trying to get all the baseball parks in MLB. I helped him out on a swing through Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Detroit. We stayed at some quality inns, definitely not a 2-bathroom or heated toilet seat situation. One hotel barely had a toilet seat. But the games were great. We had fun traveling. Mike's teacher at Pope Francis Preparatory School in Western Mass, nowhere near Revere. And he and his fellow teachers started playing together a few years back. Mike's son joined it and got serious. They called themselves Prodigal Swine. Mike played me their new CD, House of Rock, while we were driving from park to park. It's old guy rock. Perfect for your demographic. This is called Jimmy Amsterdam, and it's about a guy who goes off to the Netherlands and discovers a certain plant that changes everything. And it plays in Michael Wilbon. Let's just start, because we're going to end up with yesterday's football, which was fabulous. The late afternoon football was fabulous. But let's start with Travis Hunter winning the Heisman. I thought he would win. I thought Genty would come in second, and I didn't think anybody else would get any votes at all, because I think if Shedeur Sanders isn't in the finals, I'm not going to vote for those other 2 people. But what are your thoughts about Travis Hunter? What does he do next? Do you think the pros will let him do this?
Well, it depends on where he goes. Depends on the team. We see wildly different levels of creativity every week in the NFL from team to team to team. And depends on how secure the coach is. Depends on how good that team is and what they need. Playing quarterback and being able to do it at that level is so rare in the NFL. That's what he's going to be. Now, some teams will decide to have packages.
Right.
Him play wide receiver, 4 or 5 snaps a game, maybe more. Maybe special teams, maybe he'll return. But look at the usage of Deion. Deion did both. Now, he was far more a quarterback and great at that, and his Hall of Fame credentials deal first with returning and corner. So Travis Hunter will be a lot of that. But he goes to a team where there's a creative coach who either is there or comes in while he's there. I mean, the sky's the limit with this kid.
Let me remind you of a discussion we had many times on PTI 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, in which you said Shohei Ohtani's not going to pitch. He's not going to pitch. He's going to be an everyday player. He's not going to pitch. And this is before Shohei Ohtani proved that you could do both. Has that changed your mind?
No.
Okay.
I don't compare the two. I mean, obviously the athletic brilliance, it makes it comparable. But no, I don't. The last person that I gotta call him, one of my close friends, Roy Green, is the last person to ever do this at any real level.
Yeah, to play.
And so Roy
really
is
both sides.
a year older than me, which means he must have been a rookie in 1979. And Roy probably played until 1992 or 3. He was a Pro Bowler at corner and receiver. Played for the Cardinals and Eagles. And Roy is he seems a little bigger than Travis Hunter to me. But maybe they're about the same size. It just, what it takes, the fact that this kid played all the snaps several times in a game.
He did.
I mean, it can't be. It isn't appreciated enough. It isn't. So many things are hyped, and so many people are hyped. Travis Hunter, you can't hype him enough or too much.
He was the best football player out there. This
That's right.
takes nothing away from Aston Genty, who was the best running back. But this other guy it's a very well-deserved Heisman. Very well deserved.
You and I have agreed on that since we both, sometime in week 4 or 5, said, all right, that's it.
Yeah,
it's time to forget about a race here. This is one guy.
All right.
Race, he's phenomenal.
Let's do some football, then we're going to get to what you did over the weekend with the golf. Let's start with the football this week. Kansas City finally wins comfortably, though against a fairly weak team. God knows that Jameis Winston just throws it up. I mean, he'll gain 450 yards and have 4 interceptions. But then Mahomes gets hurt. Did you see that? What do you make of it? Oh, I saw it.
Very little of that game. I read about it and listened to the aftermath of it. And I know Andy Reid, I thought in postgame said he could have come back, but then Mahomes said he didn't know if he could.
Right, he's week to week.
Which is a significant assessment to me.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's the reason. Okay, that guy. I'm not saying he's the MVP. I'm saying he's the best player in the world. He's the guy. So if he's not 100% down the road, now they're in great shape. They're 13-1, so they're okay.
Maybe you sit him next week.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I don't know what their schedule is. Maybe you sit Mahomes, or you try to.
Texans, Steelers,
Mahomes don't want to
Broncos.
sit.
What do they got?
Texans, Steelers, Broncos.
Oh, they got 3 hard games.
Yep.
Those are all good games. Those are playoff. Everything's a playoff teams
in Pittsburgh.
Those playoff teams.
Those are.
Wow. That's
yeah, man.
All right, let's talk. Let's talk about and we'll do this briefly. The Saints going to win, not tie, not OT. Go to win. Agree or disagree?
Agree. You're dreadful. You're playing at home. You're dreadful. You have nothing else to play for this season except your draft position. So losing doesn't even hurt you ultimately. And so, yeah, you go for it.
I agree totally.
I really believe that.
I agree totally that they should have gone for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
I don't know that I would have had Spencer Rattler drop back a second time in a row, but, and they don't have Taysom Hill. Because I'd have given him the ball.
Well, you will have Taysom Hill. He's been out for several weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't have him.
Yeah.
So, and he's that guy.
You got an ace who does that kind of thing. Yeah, you don't have him.
That I would.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders tried to give that one away yesterday, but I think it may still take 2 more wins. I know one gets them to 10.
That was almost a huge gag.
This is totally okay for the plan, by the way.
Gag. They were up 14-0 and 21-7. That was almost a real game. All right, let's get to the 2 games that mattered the most. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and the Bills and the Lions. Just your overall thoughts as to what you watched yesterday.
Well, there were elements of greatness in those games. They weren't shaken apart because the margins were too cushy, and you didn't have drama at the end. But the only reason why Detroit didn't have any drama at the end is because their coach, Dan Campbell, who was much celebrated, and deservedly so, much celebrated, he sabotaged his team. Last week,
the first one you're talking about, the first onside kick, right? Not second, obviously.
Was there a second one?
Yeah, at the end of the game. I mean, they had like 12 seconds, and they didn't,
Oh, yeah, they looked like they recovered. They thought they recovered.
Yeah.
Right. He sabotaged his team. He did. You don't. Just because you're down 14 or 17 or whatever it was, you got a hot quarterback. The momentum has changed. You're playing at home. You're 1,000,001. Your players have complete confidence they're going to win any game, even though they have been down 21. What are you doing with 12 minutes left with an onside kick? That was insane. He does lots of insane things, and when they work,
yes,
people say he's a gambler. He goes for it. He wants to, bite your kneecaps. All right. And it didn't cost him much yet, because they're still the number 1 seed over the Eagles.
That's right.
Tiebreaker.
That's right.
In the NFC, but he cost his team yesterday. He did. He threw away a game, and we don't know they would have won, but they were going to have a legit chance with that offense with the ball. My God, that game was entertaining.
It really was
entertaining. It wasn't entertaining as it could have been or would have been. You can't convince me Detroit wasn't going to win that game yesterday, because I believe they would have, if not for Dan Campbell. Now, what I believe, having been around a lot of teams in my life and some great ones, is the players will just say, all right, we love Coach, we love him, we understand why he did it, he believes in us, let's tee it up again.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Meanwhile, Josh Allen, 2 weeks in a row, has now personally accounted for 10 touchdowns.
Yeah,
They have
Josh
scored
Allen.
90 points against the best team in the league and a playoff team. What do you make
I'm not
of
going to
them?
say he's wrapped up the MVP because Saquon could do stuff in his last 3 games.
So could Lamar.
Three games is a lot. So could Lamar.
Yeah.
It's a 3-horse race,
Yep.
but Josh Allen is leading.
Yeah, I agree.
Josh Allen has a lead, and he's got a couple of Carlin's lead, and I'm fine with whoever does. If somebody emerges in these last 3 weeks and has 3 games to separate himself, I'm fine with that. But if it would be Josh Allen, what he's done the last 2 weeks are phenomenal. He's in that zone.
No,
He's
absolutely.
in that place that people don't get. By the way, you can't ask again in 2 years. Well, why doesn't he just? Oh no. He's in a place where you do this once in your lifetime.
Hey, he's
You're an
good,
NFL player. Once.
All right, let's go to the other game. What did the Steelers and Eagles show you?
I don't know that anybody separated himself. The Eagles played better. They were at home. And the Steelers had one critical turnover that cost them the pitch that was that Najee Harris couldn't handle on a basic running play. It's basic
right-hand side.
Sweet visual C. So I don't know that I want to decide that game tells me everything. It probably tells you the Eagles are a little better at this point. They've won 10 in a row.
Yeah, no, I
had
disagree with you.
teams.
I think there was enormous pressure on the Eagles. There was incredible pressure on Jalen Hurts. I think he dedicated himself to making sure that everybody would shut up, that he could pass it, that he would pass it to A.J. Brown, and he fed the right people.
Ultimately, you're not going to get points for that in January. So I don't. That's great. You're right. First of all, you're right. Let's start with that. About that dynamic and that storyline. Now, that doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. Going forward from right now, that means nothing. The Eagles seem like whatever potential mini drama they could have had was squashed yesterday.
Yeah.
That's good for them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help them going forward. It doesn't help them going forward, which is all I'm looking at right now.
Okay. To me, it diffuses.
Green Bay, all these teams. Did you do anything yesterday that says to me, yeah, it's them?
Well,
not really.
So I disagree because I think that was one of those things where Jalen Hurts, there's a bomb that's going to go off, and Jalen Hurts has to pick the right wire to cut, and he did.
You may be right.
He did.
Maybe I'm underestimating or understating.
That's what I think.
What he did yesterday.
All right, tell the people where you were all weekend. Tell the Bobby Orr story.
Yeah, well, I was in Florida. Where was I, Tom? I was in
Tiburon was the golf course. You were on the west coast of Florida.
Yeah, it's about 30 minutes from Fort Myers, where you can fly in and fly out if you're flying, commercial airline. So I was there for Grant Thornton, who I do some freelance work, some projects for, in the space of diversifying golf and growing the game of golf. And there are young, dynamic players. Colin Morikawa, who you know is my favorite, was not there this weekend, but Tony Finau, both Corda girls, Nelly and Jessica, who are, just two of my favorite athletes, period. There's so many. Lydia Cole, there's about 20. But there's a core, Ricky Fowler. There's a core of them that decided a few years ago with Grant Thornton. And Wasserman is heavily involved, but he represents a lot of them, if not all of them. But Grant Thornton decided they were going to do this, and golf decided. You're not going to grow the game of golf by having the same people who look the same, who do the same things, who come from the same places. As other sports grow, golf's not going to do that without some effort and without some outreach to people who look different. And they asked me to be sort of the voice of this and the person who helps drive the content of this or facilitates that, and I'm grateful that those people I just named, among others, but that's the core of it. Mel Reed, who you have gotten to meet and know
like her
a little bit, that they are people who I don't just like them, I don't just respect them. In almost every case, I admire them. I've gotten to sit and have dinner with them, stand around and hang out with them at the golf course. Dinners, projects, and what they're about, and who they are, and what they stand for, and what they do. And it's like, wow, I'm pretty lucky to be involved in this. So I go to this this weekend. It's a couple of times a year, maybe 3. The Players is another place where we convene. But while I'm walking up the golf course, there's 5,000 or so people. Not a big crowd. It's not like Waste Management where people are hanging off stuff. It's not crazy. But it's in Naples. But a guy comes over and says, Mike, excuse me, I'm so-and-so. And Bobby Orr just saw you walking off the golf course and would love to say hello. And we couldn't catch up with you. I'm like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And he said, Bobby Orr is here and he would love to say hello. Saw you and wonder where you're going to be. I said, are you kidding me? It's a joke? And he said, no. So I said, where is Bobby Orr? Where are you guys going to be when I come back down these stairs? Is he leaving the property? And the guy says, no, he'll be in this room right here, the small ballroom. Take a drink of water. After, it's 6 o'clock, 6 to 7. I said, you tell Bobby Orr I will move heaven and earth to come down here and say hello. So at 6:15, I walk downstairs because we were about to start our program and dinner. I walk into a room, and there's Bobby Orr. And he stands up, and he has a 100,000 kilowatt smile on his face. And just said, Mike, it's so great to meet you. Sticks out his hand and says, I'm Bobby Orr. There's not, 10 times in my life where I have been more stunned and honored in the moment. And sometimes you're in a context where you're going to meet famous people, and some of them, as you know, Tony, I've met all my heroes, all of them, all my Chicago guys, all of them, Bernie Banks and Billy Williams to Fergie Jenkins to, Bobby Hull and Sayers and Ditka and all of them. But Orr is not one of my heroes, but he's Bobby Orr. He's no lower than the 3rd greatest player all the time, and our dear friend Bob Ryan, every time you and I say Gretzky, he calls us in the immediate aftermath and says, stop it, it's Orr. And I'm standing there having a hug or 2 or 4 with Bobby Orr. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. And I said, are you aware of this thing? I said, when I first heard you wanted to see me, I thought you were going to scream at me because what I say about Gretzky and you, and he starts laughing. And I said, what you don't know is every time we do that on the show, Bob Ryan calls me or texts me and says, shut up, stop it, it's Orr. It's not Gretzky. And Bobby Orr is laughing so hard he's got tears. And first of all, he's, Bobby Orr, people don't realize, he's 76 years old now. And he's as fit as he could possibly be. I said, how much golf are you playing down here? And he explained to me that he didn't live in New England anymore, like a lot of us who get cold, who play in places like Chicago and Boston and live our lives there. He said, I'm in the sun now, I'm down here. I sold a place. He told me wherever he sold his place, Cape Cod, whatever. And he said, I can't play, I just had a back surgery, but I'm playing. And we talked about a lot of stuff, and the part that, got to me was he said, where were you, how old were you when I got traded to the Blackhawks? And I said, I was a senior in high school, so I had to be 17, which means it had to be 1976. And he said, that's right. He started screaming, that's right, that's when I got traded. And he said, I'm really sorry. I couldn't be who I wanted to be because my knees were shot. I couldn't do it. And that, to me, that's what, when I was that age and Bobby Orr got traded to the Blackhawks, that was an unbelievable thing. And Bobby Hull had just left. Hull probably had gone in 72 or something like that. But Orr, in a Blackhawk uniform, and he did play something like, 40 games, and his body gave, he couldn't play. But we stood there talking about other stuff for a while. And I thanked him. We took some pictures. He said, you make sure you send this to Bob Ryan. And of course, I did. And you and Kelleher and
That's great.
Eric, and you know what Kelleher feels about this.
Yeah, because his father adored
Orr.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so, I got to interact with a lot of people that I feel a certain way about. And I named most of them. I got to spend a lot of time with people like Tony Finau and Ricky Fowler and Lydia Ko over the weekend. but Bobby freaking Orr.
It's Bobby. It's Bobby.
And we are welcome to tee it up with Mr. Orr if we wanted to do that. So maybe I can get you out of the house.
That's
down
great.
to Naples, who knows?
It's just a great story. The pictures were great. We were all so happy throughout
All
the
time.
day.
It's unforgettable for me. I'm not so jaded at this point in my life that if I meet those guys are gods.
Yeah, they are.
They are. There's some people that are there's some introductions I've had that I didn't expect. I had a moment like that, an hour with Muhammad Ali in 1984 when he was just retired. And so that one probably is that's the all-timer, is Muhammad Ali. But Bobby Orr, man, so yeah.
It's very cool. It's very cool. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, Tom.
Michael Wilbon, boys and girls. We'll take a break, come back with Sally Jenkins. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
This holiday season, surprise everyone on your list with the best gift. Tickets to see their favorite artist live.
This is the Game Time read. Did you know that Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks? It makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So, Michael, you have Game Time, right?
Yeah, my family, I have to go for the pick six.
And you do seat views before you buy and all of that? And
I would say as you get older, you become less willing to go into the unknown. Have to have the seat view, and if only I could double-click and get a preview of who I'm sitting next to.
Yes. Get that, too. You can't get that.
Yeah, just arrange a
unless it was Alan. Alan would have his permanent logo on the seat.
And the Pick Six reference was about bringing you to something.
I don't go to.
I know, I just want to make sure people understood.
Game Time Picks makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They're all in pricing, shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. And my favorite feature is the seat views. This gives you a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Plus, with Game Time's ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, as Michael has done, as Nigel has done. Create an account and use the code TONY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code TONY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Once again, this is a group called Prodigal Swine. And this is a song called My Baby Plays Guitar. I think it's probably a self-evident lyric at some point. You're going to have to get to My Baby Plays Guitar, so you're going to understand this. Michael, if groups, original music by original groups, like Prodigal Swine, if they want to send us their music to play on the show, how do they do it?
Send us some music by emailing it to jingles@TonyKornheiserShow.com.
All right, so Sally Jenkins is with us, and I'm going to just start this by saying Sally wrote this wonderful piece about Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick being at heart a teacher. And to get into the piece, I have to say this. I've been around Bill Belichick. Through Monday Night Football, I was around Bill Belichick. I really did not like him. I actively did not like him. He's an unbelievably condescending human being. He's also very smart and knows how to turn it on and turn it off. And given a power dynamic, and he had all the power and I had none of the power, it was unpleasant. It's unpleasant. Doesn't mean I don't think he's smart. Doesn't mean I don't think he's a great coach. Doesn't mean I'm not intrigued by the notion that of this hire, which I think is fascinating and I think is tremendously exciting. What are your thoughts on the hire and your read on Bill Belichick on a college campus?
Well, I think that Belichick is probably misunderstood. I mean, I don't want to make the guy out to be James Dean or anything.
Okay.
But he was the son of professors. His mother was a Hiram College professor. His father was an instructor at the Naval Academy who won tenure over 30 years. He grew up on campuses. It's his more natural habitat. What if the truth is that Belichick has been a misfit in the NFL all these years? and the place that he's actually more comfortable, and the kinds of people he's more comfortable with are on college campuses. Younger players. I mean, the guy. If you think about it, Tony, think about how many undrafted free agents Belichick cultivated and turned into, all pros.
He was great with those, and he also always led the league in captains from college teams. He really respected the notion that the staff and the players liked this guy. I want this guy. That's what he did. Right?
Yeah. And he would take a guy who was an athlete, who was like a Julian Edelman, who could play, who had played quarterback, in college, and he could take a guy from a small school who had been playing a position that wasn't necessarily what he was going to be great at in the NFL, and he could convert that guy into a utilitarian, role player, and sometimes those guys turned into Julian Edelmans.
Yes.
So he's got such vision for young players, and I think that may make him really, really good at this. And unlike most college coaches, he's got deep experience at dealing with the transfer portal and the NIL situation, because in the NFL it's called free agency and salary cap. You have a lot of movement on your roster every year, and he loves that Rubik's Cube, actually. And I think it's more equalizing almost in college, I think that you can, if you're Bill Belichick and you can really, really teach and really, really coach, and you can turn players who aren't the blue chippers, into really competitive guys, you have a chance to really level the field in terms of recruiting. You have a chance to really nullify other people, the Alabama recruiting advantages at North Carolina.
I have like two things that drove me crazy. One was I watched a guy on television say, I don't know if Bill Belichick can relate to the modern athlete. I wanted to throw a shoe through the screen.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, how many times in your life were you coached by someone 20, 30, and 40 years older than you? And you listen, what are you talking about? The modern athlete. The modern athlete in college who wants to go to the pros is going to revere an opportunity to go and play for Bill Belichick. And the second thing is, people were talking about the distinctions between college and the pros. On a high level of college football, they're professional athletes now. It's all different now. They were closeted professional athletes before when they had to take money under the table. Now they can take money overtly, and they can say, I want to be in the NFL. And who better to send them there than Bill Belichick? Those two things drove me crazy. And the other thing is, how could the NFL, how could someone not offer him a job?
Yeah, I think that Bob Kraft probably did a pretty good torch job on him.
Yeah.
There was bad blood there at the end, obviously, and apparently Kraft made some calls and discouraged the Falcons certainly from taking him. Although, if you think about it, like Arthur Blank was going to hire Bill Belichick.
He's a bozo.
Bill Belichick.
Arthur Blank's a bozo.
Well, Bill Belichick broke the guy's heart.
Yeah, biggest comeback ever. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that guy gets
and
everything.
Also, and Blank, I think, probably was one of the guys who thought Belichick was guilty in Spygate and Deflategate both. So, I think there's a lot of resentment of Belichick around the league. First of all, because he whipped everybody so soundly for so many years, and secondly, because there was a lot of resentment over, the purported Spygate and Deflategate too. So I think that there was probably a bunch of guys in the league, a bunch of owners in the league who said, no, we're not going to help that guy break Don Shula's record.
Well, they're just self-defeating in that way. And now he's in college. What do you think success will look like for him?
Well, the first thing it'll look like is an ACC title. I mean, they haven't won anything since 1980. Yep. So it's like the best they could hope for is to be just a little bit competitive in the conference right away, unless Belichick finds a quarterback. And if it's really interesting, but he'll get them ready to look better than they have in a long, long time. I just don't know with the portal. It depends on how much talent Mike Lombardi can claw from the portal, and how many of the guys that they really want they can get, and how quickly Belichick can blend them into a team. But the one thing that they will do is they will play with real precision. The real hallmark of Belichick teams in New England was, they led the league in turnover margin, and they were the least penalized team in the league. You'll have to beat North Carolina. The first thing that will happen is other teams will really have to beat North Carolina, because Carolina is not going to beat itself under Belichick.
So I got a note from a friend of mine who said, you keep saying Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. Why do you say that? It's obvious that it was because of Tom Brady. When Tom Brady left, his percentages went down. And I sent him back a note that said, I'm going to give you all that. Who do you think coached the defense? Who do you think, with people that never will go to the Hall of Fame, never, ever, ever go to the Hall of Fame, who do you think put that defense together? That's Bill Belichick. So I agree with you, Sally. If he stumbles onto a quarterback, I believe they'll be good right away. I do.
I do too. And the other thing is, who do people think coached Tom Brady when Tom Brady was, the 199th guy or whatever? I can't remember what the number out of the draft. But who do people think coached Tom Brady as a young quarterback? I mean, Tom Brady wasn't always Tom Brady. He just wasn't. He was a guy who had to fight to win the starting job at Michigan his senior year. So I don't know who people think developed Tom Brady into Tom Brady.
It was Bill Belichick. And as I said at the top, and I want to establish this, he was very difficult for me. And if I never have to talk to him again, it's a good day. It's a good day.
He hates TV. He hates the press. He hates popularity. He hates stars. He just wants to do his thing.
And yet, when you put him on TV without a job, he's wonderful because he wants a job, right?
I mean, he does everything his own way, right? Bill Belichick does everything he wants to do and nothing he doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you're right about that. All right, let me shift to the local Washington team, because you wrote a really lovely column about the reclamation project of the Washington team. They almost gagged it away yesterday. I am totally 100% good with the Saints trying to win the game at the end. How about you?
I was a little puzzled by that, because, if you've got all the momentum in the fourth quarter and you feel like you're finally starting to get a physical advantage over those guys, don't you want to fight for a few more minutes rather than one more play?
I thought, you're at home, you're a lousy team, you're not going to make the playoffs, go for it right here. But, okay, so you would have taken the one and you would have gone to OT.
I would have gone to OT because it really looked like they were playing downhill finally. Yeah. They were gashing the defense.
Yes, with a fifth string quarterback. Yeah. Here's the potential problem between you and I today, and I don't want it to be. I really hate the word culture. I've come to hate the word culture.
It's the worst word.
It's
the most irritating word there is. Culture. It bounces off your face and leaves a migraine behind. I could not agree more.
And yet you accepted it. You talked about the cultural change and gave a lot of credit to Dan Quinn for it. You want to explain that?
Yeah. Well, first off, it's real culture. Much as you may hate the word, you could call it environment, atmosphere. There's a lot of other better words for it maybe than culture. But the problem is it's very hard to define. But it's essentially like the medium in which everybody works. And it's the atmosphere in your office and the messaging and the way you communicate. And the main thing about workplace culture that I think is important that NFL teams can demonstrate for good and ill is that if your culture is misaligned in some way, you're done. You're a very mediocre, perpetual 8-8 team at best, which is what Washington was before Dan Quinn and Adam Peters got together. And part of the reason for that was, Dan Snyder would say, I want to win a Super Bowl, and then leave a 30-year-old seedy AstroTurf field unrenovated so that his players had to walk across it every day to a far pasture in order to have a decent field to practice on. That's misalignment, okay? That you don't mean what you say, right? You can say, oh, we're a meritocracy, and this is an egalitarian team where it's a brotherhood. And then if you have pet players that you cultivate as spies, on your coaching staff. That's a misalignment. And that's what happened all those years under Snyder. That's not happening now. There's a highly competent, if not potentially great head coach, and there's a GM with a great sense of... Adam Peters is the guy who helped Belichick get a lot of those players in New England over those years. Adam Peters, if you look at it, Adam Peters got the talent for the New England Patriots, the Denver Broncos, and the San Francisco 49ers. Two of those teams won Super Bowls, and the third played in a couple of Super Bowls. San Francisco has that incredible playoff record under Kyle Shanahan. And the guy who told Peters and Quinn that they would be well matched was Shanahan.
Yeah,
That's
no,
right.
it's certainly working, and it helps to have a quarterback. I mean, it helps to have a quarterback, and it helps to have an offensive coordinator. And they didn't have a quarterback, and they didn't have an offensive coordinator.
Right.
You know,
but I do think, as brilliant as Jaden Daniels is, and I mean, he is, I've never seen anything like that guy at quarterback, except maybe Josh Allen in a different physical way. But the interesting thing is that they could have plugged Mariota in, and I think they'd still be a really, really good team.
They are a totally changed team, totally changed, and they've done it very well. I thought they were going to lose yesterday. I did think they were going to lose.
Did you really?
I did at the end. At the end, I thought it was a gag, and they also have a fabulously easy schedule all year, like unbelievably easy schedule. But they've taken advantage of it, and they came back from the bye and they won twice. You know that's important. You got to take advantage.
Did you think New Orleans should have gone for it?
Yes, I did, and I thought they were going to close it out and win it right there. I did. I was okay with that because they're a 5-8 team or a 5-9 team. They can't make the playoffs. They're at home to do it. Thrill your fans. Yeah, I did because I didn't think a loss meant anything to them. So
you know what I thought was incredible. What did you think about New Orleans running the ball with like under 2 minutes to go?
That was odd to me.
It was
gutsy. Odd. Yeah, I mean, but they put themselves in position to win, and the Washington team, and I always say the Washington team because I can't call them the Commanders, and I can't call them the other thing either. The Washington team allowed this to happen. That was a bad performance late by them. Bad performance. So, but they won. They won.
But they were also like 2 fingertips away from being 3 touchdowns up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I thought they were going to be. I mean, I just sort of thought this game started out like the last game, and they were just going to roll. So it was fun to watch at the end. Anyway, thank you, Sal. I love the stories.
Tony.
Loved them. Sally Jenkins.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Tony.
Sally Jenkins, boys and girls. We'll take a break, and we will have email and jingle when we return. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is the Rosetta Stone read. This Christmas, give the gift that truly keeps on giving. A lifetime membership to Rosetta Stone. It's perfect for anyone looking to learn or improve their language skills. Maybe they want to immerse themselves in a new culture, or maybe they just want to be able to yell at other cars in traffic in a totally different language. That's fun. Whatever the reason, Rosetta Stone has you covered. Rosetta Stone has been a trusted expert for 30 years with millions of users and 25 languages offered, like Italian, German, Dutch, and many more. Utilizing fast language acquisition, Rosetta Stone immerses you in many ways. There are no English translations, so you really learn to speak, listen, and think in that language. Plus, it's convenient with desktop and app options and an audio companion that gives you the ability to download lessons offline. Best of all, it's an amazing value. Lifetime membership gives you all 25 language courses Rosetta Stone offers for 50% off, which is a steal. Don't put off learning that language. There's no better time than right now to get started. Today, listeners to this high-quality podcast can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/Tony. That's 50% off unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/Tony today for yourself or as a gift that keeps giving.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show. The Tony Kornheiser Show.
Here comes Tony's mailbag. Got your email, faxes, and your notes. Here comes Mr. Tony's mailbag. Gonna read some for all of you folks.
Do you know, I think of Joe Arrow. You have to be very old for this reference that I'm going to make. Older than Joe Arrow. There was a show in the 60s called Shindig. It was a half-hour weekly show devoted to the music, the popular music of the time, the rock and roll of the time. And their house singing group were the Righteous Brothers. That's how the Righteous Brothers were introduced to the United States of America. They were the house vocal duo. And I think of Joe Arrow that way, as the house band of the Tony Kornheiser.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do. I think of Joe Arrow that way. And I'm very thrilled when he sings for us. You want to do the Bethesda Bagel ad, please?
Yes, Bethesda Bagels. We love them. You will as well. Got the bagel sandwiches today, wrapped in foil. Always happy about that.
By them or you?
By them. Very happy about that.
Good job by them.
Go to BethesdaBagels.com for the location in the DC area nearest you. Then pop one in, my friend, and you will be thrilled.
That'll just about do it for us today. Before we get to the mailbag, let me just say, when I die, and then lay me to rest, gonna go to the place that's the best. When I lay me down to die, going up to the spirit in the sky. That is the essential one-hit wonder in the history of rock and roll. Yes. Norman Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky.
Went on to become a goat farmer, we think.
Yeah. Great tune.
Oh, it's a great song.
Let me thank Michael Wilbon and Sally Jenkins. Let me thank today's sponsors. And let me remind you, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. Get the show through Apple. Please leave us a review. From Samuel McGuire, about Bill Belichick. 10 wins are great, but you better beat State. I think that's good. Mo Moriarty, Wethersfield, Connecticut. I went to my first New England Patriots game in 1975. They scored a touchdown, and 4-year-old me asked my father, why is everyone clapping and shouting? The stadium in Foxborough was named Schaefer Stadium, a beer brand that survived after being purchased by the hipsters' fave, Pabst. My second incredulous question was, Dad, why are all of those guys punching each other? He held up his beer and said by way of explanation, too much beer. Jim Plunkett, Russ Francis, Randy Vitaha, Olham Jocks, John Hanna, Bill the Dentist, Lenkitis. Normally in football, you would assume that the nickname was conferred to the rearranging of opponents' teeth on the gridiron. No, sir. Bill Lenkitis was an actual dentist, was the Patriots' team dentist while playing center. I never expected to see the Pats win a Super Bowl, let alone 6. The very idea of a scorned and obviously underrated Bill Belichick taking over at UNC with deep NIL pockets and putting the band back together on a mission from God and forming up the Sky Blue Brothers is thrilling to me, truly thrilling, and should be terrifying to the entire ACC. It's succession, but with one discomfortingly twitchy scion as a successor in interest. I can hardly wait. It's a great email from Mo Moriarty. From Jeff Taylor in Chicago, the agency. I didn't talk about this. I'll talk about it some more. I'm up to episode 4. It's incomprehensible. I don't know what's going on. Well. I don't know. The agency is a remake of a French show called Le Bureau. It was highly recommended, so I checked it out. It's a spy show in no fewer than 4 spoken languages. Every character has multiple noms de guerre, so I expected to be a little lost. But I went with it because it was really well done and interesting show. I watched 5 episodes before I realized I had accidentally started with season 5. I went back to season 1, episode 1, and man, it was easier to follow. So I guess my point is this. A, it could be worse confusion-wise, and B, stick with it. You'll pick up the broad strokes until it becomes more clear. From Tom Hackett. Tom Hackett, DMV resident. Okay. Come on, man. What are you even doing out here, man? That is the question I have for you when you have not even seen one episode of the best TV show out there, Slow Horses. Yes. I know that it's on Apple, but I, a person who is thoroughly entertained and taught information by life by listening to your podcast and to a lesser extent watching PTI, will be happy to buy you an Apple TV and even pay for 1 year of service so you can see this. That is how much I want you to be entertained by this excellent show. You watch it.
I'm all the way up to date.
Everybody loves Slow Horses.
It's really good.
As Gary Oldman.
Gary
It's a British spy show.
Yes.
Everybody loves it. Okay.
Yes.
Again, he eats every seed.
Tom Hackett
The hair alone.
The agency, so far, is exactly what it copied. The Bureau. I would never expect you to watch The Bureau, however, because most of it is in French. But if you did, you would be thoroughly entertained and would not have to watch The Agency. So if you stick with The Agency, I believe you will enjoy it, and you won't have to watch subtitles. Landman is a soap opera, and I can't get enough of it. Yep. I believe that, as Nigel said, you would enjoy it. I have been told, get on Landman.
Yeah, it's really good.
Simmons said, get on Landman.
Yeah,
it's the only show you watch. Get on Landman.
Yep, agreed.
Like Michael, I did not enjoy Black Doves, although it was not awful. The Day of the Jackal started out better than it has been finishing. No love for Disclaimer. Maybe you read the book, but if, like me, you didn't, then you love Kate Blanchett and Kevin Kline in this. For context, I am approximately Nigel's age. Count Michael Clayton, The Godfather 2, Animal House, The Big Lebowski, The Princess Bride, Shawshank Redemption, Tombstone, and Up in the Air among my favorite films, as well as enjoying 1960s music and 70s and 80s, as proven by the book that I sent you a couple of years ago, Hollywood Eden, which I have out at the beach. Keep up the great job. I'm thoroughly entertained by the guests. So that's nice. That's Tom Hanna.
I'll leave my Apple TV plugged in at the house so you can come over and watch it.
And watch it. And this is the Gary Oldman show.
Yeah.
How many years am I behind?
It's
three?
4 seasons.
4 seasons?
But they're short seasons. They're only like 6 to 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Matt from Litchfield County, which I think is in Connecticut. How you doing? Thanks for taking my email. I help out at the Bristol Blues baseball team in the New England Collegiate Baseball League, basically Cape Cod League's little brother. My job is on-field MC, announcing, narrating the dizzy bat races. The GM Jordan texted me one day with the ultimate hypothetical contest. The competitors are Joey Chestnut and Usain Bolt. Each person has to eat a single hot dog and a bun, then run a 100-yard dash. Who you got? I would take Joey Chestnut because he will eat it so much faster than Usain Bolt.
But do you think Joey Chestnut could run it all?
He's going to only have to run 30 yards. Can I be the official on-field MC of summer collegiate baseball teams in New England? Sure. See the sycophant. Here it is, dear Toby. Courtesy of comedian Don McMillan, all the components you need for a successful Hallmark Christmas movie. A female protagonist, 1 event planner, 2 real estate sales, nanny or maid. In 4, interior designer. 5, baker or chef. 6, executive. 7, romance writer. 8, famous actress or singer. 9, shop owner. 10, advice columnist. B, male protagonist. 1, prince. 2, workaholic. 3, architect. 4, executive. 5, single father. 6, shop owner. 7, high school flame. 8, famous actor or singer. 9, son working for father. 10, Christmas tree farmer. C, locale. New York, fictitious kingdom, back in time, North Pole, small town in either New York, Colorado, Vermont, or Maine, small town with snow. Just pick one number from each and your movie is set. For example, A4, B5, C1, New York interior designer meets single father after Thanksgiving and romance ensues. Or A10, B7, C6, small town advice columnist reconnects with high school flame in December and romance ensues. It can't fail. And by the way, no matter what locale in which the movie is supposedly set, it's filmed in Canada. Yep. Alex Lau, New York City. I think you may be texting and talking with Chuck Todd too much. Over the course of the season, he's adopted your personality, shifting from a jovial, albeit somewhat sarcastic guest to a full-blown kvetcher like you. First it was the college football playoffs, now he's talking about how the SEC commissioner should shut his mouth and complaining about NFL fight songs of all things. Soon enough, he's probably going to start a segment complaining about his dog's diarrhea. Gotta get him in here, don't we?
Yes, we do.
From Nathan in Rockville, Maryland, not North Bethesda. It was so kind of you to mention 1-800-CARS for kids. There's no doubt that others have joined me in humming that tune incessantly since listening to the podcast. I'd like to make it an almost even trade. I have 8 words for you. Itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot. That shit wore on the Wayne Mossman. I feel compelled to ask the wisdom of allowing a dog to struggling to hold its bowels to sleep in your bed, let alone on your head. She gets off, she whines. She knows what she's doing.
She's a pro.
Got this note from DG that Maury played at Abaco this week, shot 73, 75, 81. Not bad for an 86-year-old, huh? Oof. We should only hope to be playing at that age.
Yeah.
Kelly Carden in Ozark, Missouri. Actually, Michael, my kids are in university now, but I wanted to pass along a tooth fairy idea. As Nigel said, $1 a tooth is a good solid price that has stood the test of time. I stumbled across the fact that U.S. Post Office stamp vending machines return Sacagawea $1 gold coins as change. These make a cool tooth fairy exchange. Also, because they are generally dumb, kids lose track of them and you can reuse them tooth after tooth, kid after kid. Thank you, Kelly.
Been recycling the same $10 for a year and a half now.
From Bennett Wise, a sports anchor at WSBT 22 in South Bend, Indiana. I listened to Wednesday's pod around 2 p.m. Several hours later, while at dinner with my girlfriend, she mentioned a court case from a few years ago involving an incident on a cruise ship. I used the Google machine and found a story on my station's website. The reporter, Tolly Taylor.
Yeah, there you go.
It turns out his career started in Notre Dame country, and he left about a year before I arrived in the spring of 2022. P.S. Other notable WSBT alumni include your former colleague Sage Steele and the late Congresswoman Jackie Walorski. I didn't know that. Nathan Ackerhelm, Charlotte, North Carolina. I want to follow up on Lyle's email from Thursday. I think wearing a suit and tie to the pond would be appropriate, as would be ordering a BLT. Yeah,
Of course it would.
David Epstein, New York. On Thursday's pod, you referenced the town of Milton Keynes and posed the question, isn't he an economist? Since you asked, Milton Keynes is not an economist. Milton Friedman was an economist. John Maynard Keynes, who I was thinking of, was an economist. Milton Keynes, he's just a guy.
Just a guy.
That's the name of a town in England? Milton Keynes?
There you go.
From Aaron Moss, Chuck and Roxy, 236. Did you say moth or moss? I swear I haven't been flying around your house. More of them. I lost 2 more sweaters and one that had recently been fixed that was just shattered. I'm wearing one now that I can't wait to throw out when I get a replacement from Johnny O. It's
Boss of the boss.
And now Carol sent away for cedar balls. So we have some cedar balls
I think we're
in the
past that.
cedar chest,
Yeah.
and we have some hanging cedar planks.
Yeah, we've got to get drone technology.
Bill
or something.
Garner, North Potomac. The answer to all your questions is arthritis. Michael Sandler, Warrenton, Virginia. I love the way you were unburdened by memory, except for song lyrics and apparently obscure backcourts of ABA teams in the 1970s. Speaking of classic show routines, do you remember in the early 90s when you had Money Mondays and gave away $100 to a random listener with the initials MS? That was my favorite. You should bring it back, Michael Sandler. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all.
I don't think that's
Nobody
a real thing.
never did.
No.
From Matthew Genovese in Jackson, New Jersey. As a big REM fan, I've been wondering, after learning of the rebranding of Rockville, if REM needs to come back out of retirement to re-record their song and change the lyric to Don't Go Back to North Bethesda. Not sure it works quite the same. From Mike Todd, not that Mike Todd, Columbus, Ohio. Dear Southern Swedish steel farmer, in addition to the previously mentioned pronunciations of Detroit in song, please include Gordon Lightfoot's from the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. In a musty old hall in Detroit, they prayed in the Maritime Sailors Cathedral, the church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. So it's Detroit, I guess.
Detroit, maybe?
Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit.
I'm not overly familiar with that song. I
No.
know of it, but I don't know.
Oh, I know the song.
I don't know it well.
He's the late Gordon Lightfoot now.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Look him up. I think he passed. Mike Sempervive, West Fenwick Island, Delaware, because it sounds fancier than Selbyville, the North Potomac of the lower slower. Does Wilbon consider all the hinky-dink talk, hocus-pocus junk? I will hang up and listen.
Yes, Gordon Lightfoot passed away a year
Steve
ago.
Gilmore, San Angelo, Texas. Can hinky-dinky peppermint poop be used in the same way as hocus-pocus junk? I will hang up and listen. From John Shapinsky, Beltsville, Maryland. Speaking of pronouncing the same word differently, I don't know if it's a Baltimore thing or a me thing, but I pronounce the word radiator differently depending on where the radiator is. If it's in the house, I pronounce it with a short A, like in fad, like radiator. Radiator. If it's in a car, I pronounce it with a long A sound, like in fade, radiator. My family makes fun of me all the time about it, but what are you going to do, hon? And from Andy Zirklin, Fishers, not Fishers Island, but Fishers, Indiana. How you doing? That's it. That's the message. I just wanted to see if you have the same rules for emails. Rama.
From the Tony Kornheiser Show.
That's Charlie, isn't it?
It is
That's
Charlie,
Charlie's
yes.
voice. Valerie and Bike tonight, everyone, as always, do wear white.
What's that, chicken? Every night is the chicken. Holy God almighty. Is it possible just once we could get something to eat for dinner around here that's not the chicken?
Hey, Dad.
I'm just saying.
Dad!
Hey, it's Tony. On today's show, Chuck Todd joins us in studio to make his weekly picks against Reginald the Monkey, and we'll talk about golf with Steve Sands. But first, commerce.
From the moment I stepped
Holiday seasons,
Previously on the Tony Kornheiser Show.
I was headed to Georgetown Hospital. I know exactly where I was, and I know exactly what time it was, and I know exactly what I was doing. And it said I went 36 in a 25. I don't, you know.
Wednesday, December
I paid
18th
it.
episode.
And I get about 6 of these a year for stop signs, and
You're up to 6 a year?
I'm about 6 a year, and Carol gets 4 or 5 a year.
Rolling stop at Fessenden?
Yeah, Fessenden all the time. I don't take Fessenden anymore. I've lost about $800 to Fessenden Street.
This is General George Washington, and you're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
So it's interesting that you made that the top of the show. I went into PTI yesterday, and Bonnie got a ticket, same spot on
Really?
Reservoir Road, going to Georgetown Hospital, just as I was. And I said, what was the number on yours? And she said 36, which leads me to believe now that they just blanketly say 36. That other voice you hear is Chuck Todd's voice. Chuck is here. We're going to talk. Chuck's going to pick games, of course.
Yes.
But at some point in the Open, we're going to ask Chuck about the last 2 weeks and what has happened to Chuck Todd. Because just to get it right, it's, I don't know, 2-11-1 in the last 2 weeks. Still way ahead.
Way up.
Chuck's still way ahead.
Yes.
Way ahead.
That's why you built the big lead.
Got him become a person.
We want to thank Greg Garcia. 3 boxes of stuff came to the house yesterday. One for Nigel, one for Michael, and one for me, with our names on them. And apparently they were shipped from Bozeman, Montana. So as I said to Michael today, I'm going to guess whatever this is from Buster Olney.
Oh, sure.
Buster Olney now lives in Bozeman, Montana.
Ice cream, maybe.
Michael,
It was not an ice cream shaped package.
No, it was not. It's a flat package.
And I was directed to open it first.
Of course.
And it is, and Greg does this a lot. Greg, there's a company that Greg works with that makes caramels, and they are caramels. They're delicious. Now, I've reached the point where I can't eat caramels because I lose all my teeth because all the fillings come out. But Greg said the note is share these with your wife and kids or hide them in the garage or call Greg Garcia. So that's very nice. Greg Garcia.
Take a look at the packaging. It looks like it's straight out of Willy Wonka.
I don't. Willy Wonka is not. You know, it's nice. It's joy to the world. It's
beautiful.
It's a little bitty house in the middle of the country. You know, just a couple of pine trees and a fox looking at it, and Amigos to Garcia Productions, which is nice.
Mine says Reginald Lovelace.
Oh, yeah, so there it is. So that's great. So maybe each one of these things is different. So speaking of Greg, his dear friend, Nate Bargatze, is getting all the publicity in the world. He had a story in the Wall Street Journal.
Washington Post.
Well, no, but the other day he had a story in the Wall Street Journal. And now yesterday he had a story in the Washington Post. And Nate Bargatze, who we played golf with at Columbia, Nate Bargatze is becoming a huge comic, right?
Yeah.
So good for him. He's a nice fellow.
It's amazing to see the quick rise after the first SNL visit, now almost 2 years ago.
And he was back on.
Yeah.
All right, a couple of other things.
Thankfully, he returned that 7-iron.
Yes. Let's give credit to Mark Feinsand. When Feinsand was on this show about a week ago, he said he thought the Yankees would go after Cody Bellinger. And they did.
Yes.
Right? Cody Bellinger. So, nominally, he replaces Juan Soto. He can't really.
MVP?
Yeah. So this is what I want to get to.
Soto hasn't won an MVP.
This is what I want to get to. There was a time when Cody Bellinger was one of the 5 best players in baseball when he was with the Dodgers. And he was an MVP at that point. Now, his hitting has fallen off. He was always a pretty good fielder, Cody Bellinger. He's going to go out and play in Yankee Stadium. Is he going to make people forget Juan? No, he's not. Juan Soto's a better player now, but Juan Soto was there for an hour and a half.
Didn't his dad play for the Yankees?
Cody Bellinger's dad?
Why do I think that?
I don't know that.
I thought that there was some sort of... I think we have machines that help that.
Bellinger laid his father-son duo in pinstripes.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah,
so
weird facts buried in the back of my head.
But Cody, there's a chance Cody Bellinger is an all-star. There's a chance.
About every 3 years, he's fantastic.
Yeah. So,
but he's never puts back-to-back. He's never had it back-to-back. He had this great year with the Dodgers. He had like a great half season with the Cubs.
Yep.
That got him to the playoffs.
Yep.
He's got this... He's got a big hole in his swing. And it seems like every once in a while, the hole's there, and then he somehow doesn't have the hole. But
he
it's
also
like
has an incredible look when the camera focuses on him. It's like right out of Spicoli. It really is. It really is. It's, you go, whoa, what's he thinking? So Cody Bellinger, so I'm going to give Feinsand
You mean, what's he on?
for that. Well, I didn't say that. People ask me about, I've gotten a couple of texts on this, why do you always refer to that ESPN, the ESPN Turner NBA in-season tournament? Why don't you call it the NBA Cup? Why do you always call it the Emirates Cup? And my answer is, because I want you to know where the money comes from. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I want you to know where the money comes from. I have no use for this thing. It ended last night, and it's an exhibition, okay? It's an extra game for the 2 teams that get there. It does not count in the standings. Now, people get paid a lot of money. I think it's $500,000 if you win. I mean, they're going to make it worth your
Well, that's why
while.
they play defense.
Yeah,
it's the one regular season game they played. There was not 100 points for either team.
They want, they want to win this game, but it doesn't. All the games leading up to it are on the schedule, and they count. This does not count in the standings. It vanishes. It's not one of 82. It vanishes. So my problem with it is pretty simple. What if somebody gets hurt in this thing?
Sure.
What if a big star gets hurt in this thing? Something that doesn't count. Now luckily, Antetokounmpo didn't get hurt. Gilgeous-Alexander didn't get hurt. I watched like 3 minutes of it.
Is there going to be a ring ceremony?
Banner raising.
There's a banner raising.
Yeah.
There's a banner raising.
Parade. Didn't somebody get into? Was there a baseball player who got badly hurt in the in that beginning of that tournament they played?
The Mets closer.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. The Mets
He was celebrating
for the whole year, and then
for a year.
And it's their season.
Yeah.
Remember, they never got off the ground. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's a risk with these. Yeah.
So I have a slight antipathy towards
But
this.
didn't you
thing, and I
see
admit it.
Adam Silver talked about? I mean, the whole point of this was to get people to watch regular season NBA, which is
Are the ratings up or down?
way down.
So it's not working.
It worked last year and didn't work this year.
Well, it had to work last year because it had never been measured before. So whatever the standard was,
Well, they set the standard,
and now it's
already
down.
Yep.
Now it's down. People don't. It's too early. People want to watch football. Okay, like this is the story of the NBA is very simple. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, people in the NBA sat down and said, let's do a whole blowout on Christmas.
Yeah, at least
Let's make Christmas
At least
our
we've
day.
got Christmas.
Yeah, let's put 5-6 games on. Let's make people
What did the
understand.
NFL say?
People understand. And then the
That's
NFL,
us.
which didn't pay attention for a
Seats
while,
taken.
somebody went to the NFL at a meeting and said, are you guys aware what's happening on Christmas? Can we crush it? And they said, yeah, we'll crush it. And they crushed it.
I don't even know what the NBA matchups are this year for
It
Christmas.
doesn't matter
because
it's an NFL game.
Chiefs Steelers, Rob.
But did you see what they did with the scheduling? Right, you have the 4 teams that are playing on Christmas also play on Saturday.
That's right.
And then they all play each other. Whatever the 4 teams.
Yes.
I mean, I get what
So
they
it's
did.
2 games within 10 days.
But the Chiefs have 3 games.
3 within 11. So we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We're
2 or
gonna
3
get to
teams
that.
with a lot of sacks. By the way, did you see? I guess there's some changes to the NBA All-Star Game. Have you seen these?
We talked about this a month ago. It's just
Okay.
4 different teams, one of which is a Rising Stars. It stinks.
But it's like first one to 40. That was new.
It stinks.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that hockey did. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Nobody wants to play in it.
Yeah.
Make it a skills competition.
The only thing I want to watch is the 3-point shooting contest.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that does seem to be
So-
the one thing that still is kind of...
The only All-Star game that can work is the baseball All-Star game because there's no threat of getting hurt. It's not the same thing. The football thing went
Well,
down the drain.
Ray Fosse.
Hockey, right? Hockey. Well, that's a different.
Yes.
That's a rarity. Hockey and basketball don't work. They just don't work. No matter what Mike says, they don't work.
225.
Speaking of things that didn't work, how long did you last with the golf last night?
30 to 40 minutes, but I never liked it.
The Blair Witch Project?
It looked so cold and unforgiving, and the players weren't talking.
I think they were too cold to talk. What do you think about Bryson's jacket?
They had a real
the
heavy jacket
on-field
on.
parka.
Yeah.
Were they playing in Vegas?
They're playing in Vegas.
It was Shadow Creek.
It is desert cold.
It's desert,
I think
so it's
when
gonna
the
be
sun started
35
going
degrees.
down, it was 59, feels like 51, and he is dressed to go.
Bad idea.
To go into a playoff game at Lambeau.
They tried to sell it. It's a bad idea.
Why do this during football season? Like, this makes sense to me in February. In
Golf?
March. Yeah, doing these match
February
events.
and March,
So-
you're already into the season.
Right, so what
That's
happens in February and March? You have the
Hawaii
West
stuff.
Coast season
Yeah,
in California,
and Hawaii.
and Rory very specifically chose this week because there was no special dispensation to go against a PGA Tour event. He had sort of free reign as a independent contract to go play wherever he wanted.
It did not deliver for me. It just didn't deliver. And by the way, they get in the carts and they don't talk. And that's why it's better with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady.
There's one they did
They
with quarterbacks a couple years ago that actually worked because they're just superhuman athletes, and to see them doing something that vaguely looks like what we do but at a higher level where they're having a couple of beers and just talking and they're just in awe of the sport. I did appreciate Chuck was going out on the limb and saying a few pretty strong statements about the state of men's golf, but if you actually look at the course, there's got to be a metaphor here where you have these pockmarked greens as these guys are playing for 5 million crypto, whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
How they're going to get taxed with those winnings.
Well, I guess Matt Damon comes to your house and gives you stuff.
The most fun I ever had going to a golf tournament was following Fuzzy Zeller at a senior tournament once.
Because he yacked it up, right?
He's
yacked it up.
And, well, my favorite thing was he was smoking the whole time.
You got to check the breeze.
Right, he'd sit there, literally drop the cigarette, take the shot, 2 feet from the pin, pick up the cigarette, keep going, and chat with the fan. I want more of that in these matches. Give me a couple of senior golf guys.
They don't do
mix it up and just have, because the senior guys, they don't care anymore. They'll start yakking away.
But they're also at a point in their career where they understand that is how you get people to come out to the tournament, and that pays for these, ridiculous tournament purses. What you're hoping for, I think they want to do with the new, indoor golf league that will start after college football ends, and will sort of fill that Monday night early
Scott
week
Van
4.
Pelt's doing that, isn't he? Scotty's doing that.
Yeah, maybe they could get you to come in and do it with him. It's at your old studio.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's what you get out there. Celebrity match.
Yeah, I could do that. But you're indoors.
You yak it away.
You're indoors. Yeah, I would talk. I would just talk to the whole thing.
Can't blade your bunker shot too far.
Yeah, it's not hard to do. I was going to talk about my corduroy suit. I'll do it tomorrow. We're doing a show tomorrow. Talk about my corduroy suit. So we'll get out of here now. We'll come back. Chuck will make picks, but Chuck will have to explain the last 2 weeks.
Some answer.
We brought him in here as a gesture of warmth.
Yeah.
We just said, please come in because you're headed down the wrong path now. We have to get you back on the right.
I trust there's equal time for Reginald. One can only hope.
Yes.
It's not like he's doing well.
Well, he's right around 500. And for a monkey.
21-1. He's a monkey.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, he's a monkey.
Okay.
We'll come back
So
on
you
Tony
play.
Kornheiser.
Today's episode is brought to you by Alma.
Listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is the Grammarly read. Your time and expertise are valuable, and with professionals spending nearly half the work week on written communication, focus is one of the most important things to have at work. With Grammarly as your AI writing partner, you can stay focused and get through your work faster with relevant, real-time suggestions wherever you write. And you can download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. Look, I can write. I do it for a living. I understand that a lot of people have difficulty writing, and this kind of stuff helps. I don't know if it helps focus. I mean, I just think it takes away your fear because you see there are a lot of suggestions out there that make your life a little bit easier if you're involved in writing. How would you like to get more done without sacrificing quality? Well, Grammarly helps with any writing, from brainstorming to sounding more confident and persuasive at work. In fact, 90% of professionals say Grammarly has saved them time writing and editing their work, and 4 out of 5 professionals say Grammarly helps them gain buy-in and action through their communication. Get more done with Grammarly. Download Grammarly for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That's grammarly.com/podcast.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is the band that we've had on before, Intercontinental, but they put the number 7 in it.
Yes.
It becomes impossible for me to understand how you are supposed to refer to the band. But I think it's Intercontinental. So here it is. It's from Devon Heritage in Edgewater, Maryland, writes, Intercontinental's 5th album is back to frustrate you with our group's name and spread music across all 7 continents. Once again, this group formed out of Maryland is the first and only group to record original music from musicians in all 7 continents. Always looking to add new collaborators. We were hoping to have Chris Salizza play the Loomis Chafee Silver Spoons. Funny. But we could even write a love song to Aaron Rodgers for Jason Lockenford to perform. Always open to suggestions. This album is available on all streaming platforms. This is called Outside by Intercontinental. They play in Chuck and Chuck's picks. So we got to get to this. 1-5-1 the week before, 1-6 last week. Now you're still way ahead of everybody else. 58-44-2. You're way ahead. But I'm sort of wondering, what do you think this is attributable to?
Well, I have a real answer. And the real answer is I got depressed after Miami got eliminated from the college football playoff. And what happens is, when Miami loses, I literally tune out all sports.
Really?
I cannot watch or hear anything. I cannot look at ESPN. I cannot look because I don't even want a veiled reference. I don't want to accidentally. And then I realize how much
I'm bringing information in.
Bringing it. I was just going to say. So that is a real answer. The other is simply just was on a hot streak, and now
they're not on a hot streak.
Now it's but I think the real reason is I tuned out for a couple of days. I just got into this dark place, and I do.
Because
I don't
of
know why-
Miami.
I don't know why I let this happen to me, but I do. It's the only, all of my other, the Nats, and my son gets mad at me. He goes, how come you don't get as upset when the Packers lose as when the Hurricanes lose? And I said, because in the NFL, you can lose. In the NFL, not every game matters. But by the playoffs, obviously it matters. In college, one loss.
That's right.
Especially if you're not...
Weak conference.
Right, weaker conference, and Greg Sankey isn't going to let you, play in his reindeer games unless you're perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. We've talked about this. I was surprised that SMU got in. I would have put Alabama in over
blown up
SMU.
the conference championship games. And at the end of the day, I bow at the altar of your mantra, it's all about money.
Yeah.
And there is, as much as we all know these conference championship games now are meaningless because of the football playoff, as if they're going to stop doing them. They've all got TV contracts. They're not going to give up these championships.
You're not going to get a group of people who are essentially athletic directors and football coaches in a room to denigrate the conference championship by throwing all the losers out.
You can't do that.
So I get it. But
So they had
if it was me, I would have put Alabama in and not SMU if it was me. Okay. Well, SMU did make a great comeback in the second half, which got them there. Let's do the games.
And when they beat Penn State, will it be just, but Penn State? Or will it be credit to SMU?
I think it'll be credit, but I also feel that, Penn State.
He never wins a big game.
No.
Right? If he loses... And if Franklin loses this game, it's just another
one. And by the way,
of,
he let the second string quarterback leave through the transfer portal.
Oh, that's right.
Second string. This is not the fifth string.
Right. Yeah.
This is the second string. What if the first string guy gets hurt?
But some of these guys go into the portal and still play.
You're allowed to. That's optional.
Yeah.
In Franklin says no. If you go in, you're out. It's self-defeating on Franklin's part.
It could. You got to be careful treating these players this way.
Yeah.
Because it's a two-way street these days.
All right, here we go. First game, Denver. Denver was 8-9 last year. In the first year of Sean Payton, Denver is 9-5 right now. Sean Payton, much to Wilbon's anger, hated Russell Wilson, hated him, and treated him badly, and got rid of him.
Was he right?
And I don't know if he was right about that because Russell Wilson's doing very well in Pittsburgh, but he picked a rookie. He picked Bo Nix, who's going to be a franchise quarterback for 10 to 12 years. Who's got a real good shot at being Rookie of the Year. I think it's going to be either him or Jaden Daniels. He's got a real good shot with 3 games to go. And they're 9-5. Sean Payton knows what he's doing. They are +2 with the LA Chargers. I underlined this. This is tomorrow night. I underlined this because the Chargers have lost, 3 out of 4 or something like that. And Denver is winning games. And I was sort of not mystified, but, my eyebrows went up. Really? +2 Denver?
It's +3.
+3 Denver?
Yes, +3 Denver.
At the Chargers?
At the Chargers, yeah.
Chuck?
I hear, by the way, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, both 5-year college guys.
Yeah, played a lot of games.
All right. To me, not an accident that of these top quarterbacks, right, who are the 2? Caleb Williams, not as many starts.
Nope.
Still getting... I point this out because I am a biased Cam Ward guy, obviously, and Shador. But I do think Cam Ward can start immediately. 5-year college guy, 3 different offensive coordinators. Shador hasn't had that. And I think you see that experience difference.
Although I think Shador Sanders will be a great quarterback.
I don't disagree, but I think he's going to need more time than people think on that one. Give me the Chargers because they have to. This is a must. They have to. But God, they were terrible.
Yeah.
They were terrible. I lost real American dollars on that game. A lot of real American dollars. I had them in this great, I had a 4-team teaser. I had them all except Tampa Bay scoring 41 points.
Tampa Bay's better than you think.
I know.
And
Baker.
And Baker Mayfield's better than you want to believe.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the game with the biggest line shift of all. It has to do with one person. This game, Houston at Kansas City. Started out, Houston was a road favorite.
At 2, right?
It was -2 at Kansas City, and everybody would go, whoa, I got to take Kansas City. Well, the reason they were -2 was because of the assumption that Patrick Mahomes was not going to play. Everybody looked at him getting hurt the other day. They saw all that yellow tape that it looked like a crime scene on his ankle, and they said, because Wilbon and I went on television yesterday, and we both said, I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play him this week. Wilbon said I wouldn't play him in either game, the Saturday game or the Wednesday game. I said I'd play him on the Christmas Day game, but he became a full participant in practice yesterday. That changed the line by 5 points, right, Chuck?
It did.
Himself.
I thought for sure he wouldn't play Saturday.
I don't know.
I assume the NFL had a gun to the head of Lamar Hunt, or the Hunt brothers, that said, he's playing on Christmas.
Yes.
You are bringing him out on Christmas.
Yes.
You have to bring him out on crutches. So that's why I thought he wouldn't play. I'm still going to go with the Texans and the points here.
You're going to take the 3?
Because I am still skeptical Mahomes plays.
Okay.
But
this line moved just by
because.
factor of practice.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm not trusting that Mahomes plays the whole game.
Okay. Here's another Saturday game, and I underline this spread as well. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Division rivalry game. Often close, often fairly low scoring. Pittsburgh +6. 6 is really a big number. 6 is really a big number, particularly because we don't know if Justin Tucker can kick field goals. We know he can kick extra points. We don't know if he can kick 6 is a big number. What are you going to do?
The other thing is Tomlin on a short week. Not good.
Not good.
Not good. The Steelers on a short week. It's an interesting, when Tomlin has extra time, always take him. When he has short amount of time is when you should fade him. And now he's got, this is everybody on Saturday is playing on Christmas.
That's right.
And both of these teams are having
3 games in 11 days for all of these teams.
All 4 playoff teams. I mean, This really is a punishment potentially to these 4 teams in the AFC. 6 is a lot, but I did not like what I saw from the Steelers.
So you'll take Baltimore.
I'm going to take Baltimore.
Lamar Jackson is having a great year. They lose games, though. They've lost 5 games already.
The defense, what happened to the defense?
It's not good. Philadelphia is at Washington. Philadelphia is 12-2. Washington fortunate to win this game against New Orleans. They collapsed. They gagged huge at the end of that game. They very easily could have lost. Philadelphia is giving 3.5 at Washington. They beat them in Philadelphia. This is the rematch, and Washington is 9. Maybe you people don't remember this, how terrible Washington was for X amount of years. They're 9-5 at the moment. What do you do?
Even when they were terrible 2 years ago, they beat the Eagles when nobody else could beat the Eagles. That's right. Washington, RFK is now about, did you see the news?
That they're going to put a stadium.
Congress is passed this bill that they're finally going to make.
So that was that senator in Montana who was holding it up, and then they made him happy.
They made him happy. They're sneaking it in, and we're going to get this beautiful football complex.
So then nobody actually has to talk to Wes Moore again? Like when he knocks on your door, you don't really have to talk because it's over.
It's over. It's over.
It's over.
The question is, do you still call it RFK?
What will they call it?
I don't know.
I would call it RFK.
Yeah.
We're not going to call it Northwest Stadium, are we?
RFK Jr.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We don't want to go there.
You don't want to go there?
And you really wonder what the economic opportunity will be where the old stadium is, where FedEx is. Because that's such a vibrant area. People love to go to it.
It's so accessible. What I love about it is the ease of transportation. The metro stop's only a mile away. Only 1 mile. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Monster trucks for 2 years, then nothing.
What are they going to do? You bulldoze?
Industrial. No, it'd be industrial waste.
The Washington, Josh Harris has said, we're going to make you whole. We're going to do whatever we're supposed to do to help you, but we're getting out of Dodge.
Got to.
I still own property in Raljan. Does that count?
No.
Raljan, Maryland? No longer exists.
It doesn't exist.
So anyway, WFT. Yeah.
You're going to take Washington?
I am.
Okay. Minnesota, 12-2. Nobody at the beginning of this year, when Kirk Cousins left, nobody, not the staunchest Minnesota Vikings fan in the world would have said they would be 12-2.
You like that?
And by the way, get rid of those white uniforms. That's not Minnesota. They shouldn't be wearing.
Did you like them on Green Bay? Because I don't like them either. I don't like the white on the Green Bay. They did the same. It was
especially with the fluorescent Seattle ones.
I don't like it.
Terrible.
Don't like it. That's just me. Minnesota is at Seattle. Seattle. If they don't win this game,
but they're
done. At Seattle, I don't know Geno Smith's health. I assume it's you're shaking your head.
Wasn't great. No, he didn't look good.
Minnesota's giving 3 on the road in Seattle.
Did you see the Sam Howell sighting? You might have been asleep.
Terrible.
Oh my God.
He was 5 of 14 for 24 yards, 1 interception, 4 sacks.
Well, I was just going to say the Packers had 4 sacks on Geno, who, by the way, also is a potted plant back there.
That's right.
He does
but
not
he's
move.
36 years old.
Correct.
So there's a reason.
And then Howell comes in and he's like, oh, wait a minute. I only have 6 seconds to throw the ball. I'm going to go 7 seconds and then get sacked. No, Flores, that defense, that Vikings defense, they're going to kill Seattle.
Okay.
Give me the Vikings.
Okay. San Francisco is done. They're at Miami. Miami's probably done at this point.
Is there a rumor that Kyle Shanahan and the Bears? Where did I hear this?
That he'd leave San Francisco to go to Chicago?
That there was some weird story about that the Bears might throw a bunch of money at Shanahan to see if they could get him to take Caleb.
Wilbon would be
I can't remember where I heard this. People are saying.
Okay, I don't know about that. San Francisco, they're done. They're getting 1.5 at Miami. Miami, I don't know. They are much better with Tua. But that doesn't mean
What's
they're
better?
good. Doesn't mean they're good.
The Tua experiment has to end. They paid him, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oof. You know that Steve Ross, he really wants to go to a Super Bowl, and he's in his early 80s.
Yeah, he can get a ticket
if he wants. That's about the only way they're going with this team. I don't know what to do with this game because I think Miami's done too. The only reason I'll take McDaniel here is because I think he wants to impress Shanahan. Right? This is all part of the
together.
That's right. This is all part of the tree.
Work together.
All of that. So I'm guessing it's a real competitive, scheming and all of that stuff.
That probably occurs with McVay and LaFleur as well.
Yeah, I assume a low-scoring game, but I'm going to go Miami.
Okay. And the last one is Tampa Bay, which is better than people thought. Quarterback by Baker Mayfield, who is better than people thought. They are on the road in Dallas. Dallas's home record is so terrible. It's so terrible. And Tampa Bay is this is a Sunday night game. Tampa Bay is a 4-point favorite on the road.
Well,
but Dallas won last week.
Yeah, but Dallas at home is terrible.
Yes.
So it's almost like an automatic, right, to bet against them. Baker Mayfield's the new Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean by that?
Tell me.
Meaning, we didn't believe in Kirk Cousins, and all he did was perform for 10 straight years. And you sit
out
there,
right
now he's out, and I get it. It's now over, but
it's over.
Would you like to accumulate the wealth he accumulated over the last 10 years?
Yeah.
He bet on himself.
Free agency signings.
Every time he bet on himself, and he bet on himself. And Baker's been doing the same thing, and he's like,
yes,
how do you like me now? Type of thing.
So you will take Tampa
I'm going to take Tampa Bay.
So not only do we have Chuck Todd, which would be enough, but we have him live in studio, which is more than enough. But we don't rest on that. We give you a monkey.
See the monkey, he's scratching, watching his iPad, smoking and laughing, hanging with Bud Grant, tapping on his purple attache. He's going to the zoo. Reginald's got the lighting spine too. Sometimes he throws boo. When he's had too much Johnny Walker Blue.
So he had a pretty good week. He was 2-1. He's right below Mount 500. He's at 20-21-1 at the moment.
Yeah, he's been flirting with it for a few weeks. Yes. He just can't seem to sort of get over the hump.
Yes.
Mostly because he's just so busy.
That would be funny if he was a camel. It just occurred to me. That would be funny.
He has some friends who are kept. Joe the camel is a big friend of his. So I went down to the National Zoo, as I always do.
Have you ever been around camels?
I've never have, actually.
They spit dirty. Disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
They're fun to look at because they're really weird-looking things, but they spit at you.
Yeah. I've always kind of wanted to ride one because it's just, Lawrence of Arabia style.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I have a feeling it would probably kill me.
Yeah.
So I went down to the zoo. He was not in his flat. He was actually over at the polar bear's place because there was a snow angels making contest.
Okay.
All sorts of people there, cavalcade of stars as it normally is. Among the people there, Kathleen Turner was there.
Sure.
Vlade Divac was also there. And a participant as well as a judge, not sure how this worked out, Lance Ito, former O.J. Simpson judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was there. Apparently,
Lance Ito, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Been friends for a long time.
Is Kalen there?
Well, he's got a place out back that he stays in. Yeah. So they took a break from the festivities to go over some of these matches. Now, the first one we gave him was Denver at the Chargers, getting 3 on Thursday. That's tomorrow night. And he showed me a lovely photograph of him practicing the bobsled along with Terrell Davis, Ed McCaffrey, and Alex English. So
he's going Denver.
Tells me he's got ties to Denver area. He'll take the 3.
It'll make Tamara happy.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
Yes.
And the next match we gave him was Pittsburgh getting 6 at Baltimore.
Big number.
This is a very large number. This was
a division game with a team that's won 10 games. Yeah. Big number.
This was a lovely photo. He showed himself, Reginald, having a sandwich at Primanti's with Dave Parker, Evgeny Malkin, and Bill Mazeroski.
So he's going.
Yeah, he's got ties to Pittsburgh. Yeah, Steel
Dave
City.
Parker, Hall of Fame.
That's right. Yes, the Cobra. That's his nickname, right? The Cobra.
I guess. I don't know. I don't remember.
I might have just made that up.
No, maybe. I don't know.
Be a cool nickname.
Would be.
He should have been in the
He should have been a lot. He was so good.
Wasn't that
Yeah,
this year?
probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. God, he was great. Now, the last match we gave him was Philadelphia giving 3.5 at the Washington football team. And this was an interesting
Supposed to be a
photograph.
cold day, but a clear day.
Yeah, cold and clear. Reginald showed me a picture of him rock climbing with Greg Lazinski, Dr. J, and Bobby Clark.
He's going Philadelphia. He's been on Washington all year.
He has.
He's
he
going
has.
Philadelphia.
Now, you'll be interested to know this. Joel Embiid was supposed to go climbing with them.
Couldn't.
Got hurt in the van on the way over.
Of course he got hurt.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So.
But he yapped. The guy who's never won anything, who's never gotten to the conference finals.
He won a gold medal?
He won a gold medal. He demanded to be on the team. No.
They won a gold medal despite him.
Yeah. All right, we will take a break. This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey have been brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Steve Sands when we return?
That's right.
Steve Sands. We'll ask him about that golf from last night. It didn't look welcoming on any level. It didn't. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is the Collars & Co. read. They sent me 3 shirts.
Oh, that's right.
They were really pretty.
Yes.
I have not yet worn them. I haven't. You need to wear them under a sweater. I mean, if you're going to go out, you can't wear them under a vest because they are short sleeves. I mean, you can, but the whole purpose is to wear them under a sweater. And I haven't worn them yet. And I was looking.
Avoid that bunch.
Yes. I don't have that many sweaters anymore. That, the traditional either V-neck or crew neck sweater, which
the crew neck
on top of which they're going to look great.
Right.
Yes, they would. Under which rather, not the sweater would be on top. But I haven't gotten to that yet. And I look at them and they're really
How'd
nice.
they feel?
They feel great.
Yeah,
they're really nice.
Nice colors.
The Tattersall in particular, I really like. Are you tired of uncomfortable dress shirts and shirts that bunch up under a sweater? You really have to check out Collars & Co., maker of the Dress Collar Polo. Their shirts are 4-way stretch. They're buttery soft polos with firm dress collars on them. So they give you the dress shirt look, but with the extremely comfortable polo feel. It means you can wear them with anything. Under a sweater, with a blazer, or by themselves as an elevated polo. I love the notion of elevated polo. It used to be the word was upgrade, but upgrade got so common that it's now elevated. They're great for the office, the golf course, or for a night out. The collars don't flop down and spread out. They stay firm and sharp all day. So if you're looking for a performance dress shirt or polo that looks great all day, check out collarsandco.com and use the promo code TONY for 15% off any purchase of $100 or more. That's a good deal. Use the code.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show. The Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is the Game Time read. Did you know that Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks? It makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So, Michael, you have Game Time,
Yeah,
right?
my family, I have to go for the pick 6.
And you do seat views before you buy and all of that? And
I would say as you get older, you become less willing to go into the unknown. Have to have the seat view, and if only I could double click and get a preview of who I'm sitting next to.
yes, get that too. You can't get that.
Yeah, just arrange a meet
unless it
and
was
greet.
Alan. Alan would have his permanent logo or seat.
And the pick 6 reference was about bringing you to something.
I don't go to.
I know. I just want to make sure people understood.
Game Time Picks makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They're all in pricing, shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. And my favorite feature is the seat views. This gives you a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Plus, with Game Time's ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, as Michael has done, as Nigel has done. Create an account and use the code TONY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code TONY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Once again, this is Intercontinental, and they stick the number 7 in there.
Yeah, there's the
I don't
second
know what
tier
you're supposed to say. Intercontinental.
Sevenal?
I don't really understand that.
That's a trademark issue.
Don't really
That's what they
understand
did
that.
it so they could trademark it.
Yeah, but this is called Take What You Need. They're a good band.
Yeah,
we
love
like them a lot. We just don't know
How to say the name.
say their name. Yeah. Michael, if bands like Intercontinental 7, want to send in their original music, how do they do it?
Send us your music by emailing it to jingles@tonykornheisershow.com.
And they play in Steve Sands. We haven't talked to Sands in a while. I get pictures of Sands with people all the time. They just send me pictures at Sands. They put their arms around Sands. They take selfies. They send this to me. Dr. Chet Maxon sent me one. Right? You hung around with Chet Maxon at one of the tournaments you did recently?
Yes, I did.
So that made me happy. What was this thing last night? It looked so very cold. I watched for about a half hour and I thought, is this not working for me? What is this thing?
Yeah, it was supposed to be in September. And if anybody's ever been to the desert in the winter, I guess it's not winter just yet, a couple days away, but when that sun goes down in the desert this time of year, it goes down fast and it gets really, really chilly. It ended up being in the mid-40s the last few holes last night. It was really, really
DeChambeau was wearing a serious parka. Serious parka.
Yeah. I was going to say, by the way, he was wearing a parka to go play golf. It was not high-level golf. It really wasn't high-level entertainment.
Okay, he was showcasing his new Reebok deal for his...
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I watched for a while, but it was not, honestly, it was not entertaining for me. Maybe it was for other people, but it wasn't for me. That was at Shadow Creek, right, in Las Vegas, right outside Las Vegas?
Yeah, and you had 4 world-class players.
Yes.
You have Bryson and Brooks on one side, and you have Scotty and Rory on the other side. Golf just doesn't lend itself to chatter and smack talk and fun and mic'd up kind of banter. I don't know why. Maybe they need someone down on the ground kind of goosing them a little bit, but it really wasn't that entertaining. These guys are world-class golfers, but the golf and the entertainment was not at a high level.
There's so much space on a golf course. It doesn't help when you go in these 6-hole matches when you have to skip the last 2 holes and drive what feels like over half of a mile to get to the next round.
That's exactly right. It just wasn't great.
I guess the overarching question would be, in your sense, does it bring us any closer to one tour because you had 2 Saudi guys and 2 PGA guys?
Well, I don't think last night would be the impetus to that, but I do think that the deal is getting closer. I do think that the players on both sides feel as if the business aspect of this is going to get taken care of at some point. And I still think, I told you this a long time ago, Tony, I still think you go through 25 because the schedule's already set, and you have to, put things in place. But I do think in 2026, not only will we see changes, in the field sizes and the things that the PGA Tour has implemented here in the last month or so, but I think that the LIV players are also going to be, involved in some PGA Tour events, I think in 2026.
Okay. All right. Did you work the Grant Thornton, right? You did that.
Yeah.
Wilbon
a bunch of times.
Wilbon was so excited by that thing. Wilbon loves the quarters. Wilbon loves Finau. Wilbon loves Jason Day. Decided he loved Jason Day. Loves Mel Reid and all of this. What was that sort of a made-up event? Did you enjoy it?
Wilbon loves everybody but the general manager of the Chicago Bears.
Right. At this point.
Well, it was so great to see Michael down there hobnobbing and doing his thing. The Bobby Orr thing, the story you guys told yesterday. By the way, give Staples another chance, Tony. Staples is a staple in American business.
It's the parking lot.
No, but you hated the parking lot at Calvert-Woodley for 50 years, and you still went there. Come on.
I went there all the time because when they saw me coming, they cleared out a space, so I was pretty happy about that.
I'm pretty sure whether it was Broad Branch, Calvert-Woodley, or Staples, if you called ahead, they might find you a spot. You're Tony Kornheiser, for goodness sake.
Staples thing, that was a tough lot.
Tell Carol to stay off Fessenden also. My gosh, what's going on?
Ticket after ticket after ticket.
You're hurting Michael's will there. Look, I think... of course the tournament's made up. I mean, it's brand new last year. It was year 2. It was really good, though. It was way more entertaining than I thought it would be. The guys love playing with the girls because the girls hit it so straight. They play such a different game, even though it's the same sport. And the girls love playing with the guys because they just love seeing the power and the shots that they can hit. It's just a lot of fun. I think Grant Thornton's doing a wonderful job. Michael, by the way, is fantastic for them. And they're trying to achieve. And he's right. You know, the Cordas are cool to hang around with. And, you know, the women on the LPGA are so good. They just don't get the attention that the men get on the PGA Tour numbers-wise. So you put them together, and then you realize just how great they are. Perhaps it will elevate the game. Perhaps it will grow the game. Perhaps it'll allow, you know, young girls in the crowd who are, you know, adoring fans of Lydia Ko and Lexi Thompson and all the other women, Nelly Korda, who are out there to get into the sport. So I think it's a great thing. I agree with what Michael said yesterday. It was a wonderful event. It was a lot of fun, and it's competitive as hell, I can tell you that.
And the guy who won it has suns out, guns out. That guy's got enormous biceps. That guy was, at one point, I think I heard on a telecast that he was a bouncer at a bar.
Yeah, that was our telecast. Yeah, he was a bouncer a few years ago at a bar. Jake Knapp first of all, he's a terrific kid.
Gigantic arms.
What's that?
Gigantic arms. Gigantic.
Oh, yeah. He's got pipes. He's great looking. He's got a great personality. He was a winner earlier this year at the Mexico Open in his rookie season on tour. You know, that kid's got a lot of promise. And to say that the fans who come out to watch PGA Tour golf don't enjoy watching Jake Knapp walk the fairways, it's kind of like saying that they don't enjoy watching Adam Scott watch the fairways, if you know what I mean.
I understand it. All right.
He's a big hit.
Father-son is coming up. It leads to this, you know, it's fine. It's a hit and get. It's fine. It's fine. Everyone likes it.
Yeah.
How well or not well is Tiger? What, are we done with this? Is Tiger ever going, not is he going to win, is he ever going to actually compete in 4 rounds in a tournament again?
Yeah, this is the time of year where it's that mix of hit and giggle and what are we doing out there and having some fun and that kind of stuff. And also finding out, you know, what people are all about. We saw Tiger last week. He came in the booth, not this past week at Grant Thornton, but 2 weeks ago, he came into the booth with us on NBC at the Hero World Challenge. Looked healthy, sounded great, was really enthused about going to play this coming week in Orlando with his son Charlie. He's doing this because of his son Charlie. He would not normally play in the PNC Championship because he just feels like playing in it. He's doing it because it's a great experience for his son, who may or may not show some promise as far as going Division I and playing, you know, professionally. Who knows? But it's a great experience for him. Will he play a 4-round event? You know, I think he'll try to play Riviera, which is his own event, the Genesis Invitational. He desperately would love to play the Masters. We've talked about that, but I do not see him playing regular PGA Tour golf anytime soon. Here and there, perhaps. But nothing on a regular basis. He's going to be 49 in a couple of weeks, and his body is way older than that, Tony.
Yeah.
I don't see the 4 rounds walking on the PGA Tour. I can see what's going to happen on the PGA Tour Champions, perhaps playing majors, you know, in a golf.
You think he'll play the Senior Tour? You do?
I don't think he'll play regularly, but I do think he'll play in the major championships. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. Because he's allowed to ride. You know, look.
You can ride.
You're allowed to use a golf cart there. You can use a golf cart this week at the PNC Championship. If he wasn't allowed to use a golf cart this week at the PNC Championship, I don't think he would play.
Okay.
So I did 4 rounds walking PGA Tour golf. I would say Riviera is a goal. I would say the Masters, in his estimation, is a must. But other than that, other than those two, I can't think of one here in the next few months.
Let us go to Scotty Scheffler. The year is completely over. Scotty Scheffler had a dominating year. The phrase "not since Tiger" comes to mind, and when you say that about a golfer, it's an enormous compliment.
60+ million on course.
Wow. What are your thoughts on Scheffler's year?
I think Scotty Scheffler had as good a year as you could possibly have in the world of golf, and I truly believe if he wasn't arrested on Friday morning in Louisville at the PGA Championship.
He'd have won it.
Remember, the PGA is the major that comes after the Masters.
Right.
He had just won the Players. He had just won the Masters, a couple of other PGA Tour events. He was coming into the PGA Championship, #1 in the world. Played okay on Thursday, and then Friday was arrested I'm laughing because it's over with now and it's not a legal issue for him. And it kind of derailed him a little bit. I truly think he would have won that week, and then who would have known? Who knows what would have happened in the following two majors. I think that Scotty, the comparison with Tiger is ridiculous because obviously what Tiger did and what Scotty has done are not comparable. However, I do think the one thing that's interesting right now is Scotty has separated himself between number one and number two like Tiger did in his day. We haven't seen that. Now, Rory for his stretch, Spieth with his stretch, Thomas with his stretch, Jason Day a little bit in 2015 when he won his major. There have been some serious runs in the last decade, but we have never seen a separation between one and two like this in a long time. So that, to me, would be the only comparison between he and Tiger. We are on our way to seeing something seriously special here. Scotty is interested, Tony. It's so interesting. He's not in a lot of commercials. He's not like that. He's interested in being great, not being famous. So I don't think anything's going to get in his way right now. He is intact, man. Personally, professionally, he is a great, great player, and he has separated himself from the other guys like Tiger did a couple of decades ago.
He wanted his whole life to be a pro golfer. It is famously talked about how he in high school wore pants to events because the pros wore pants, which leads me to this small story. Someone named Blades Brown, I guess Blades is a nickname, maybe it's his real name, 17-year-old turning pro. Your thoughts?
Yeah, kid from Nashville. I mean, he's got a lot of game. He showed up at the U.S. Amateur at a young age and did some special things. His mother comes from a very athletic family, Tony. His mother played college basketball at Vanderbilt, played in the WNBA, was actually the first woman in the WNBA to hit a three-pointer in that league. So there's some athletic prowess in that family. And it's been done before in golf. We hear it a lot, not a lot, but we hear it in tennis a little bit more than we hear it in golf with, people turning, professional at a young age. Akshay Bhatia, who won earlier this year at the Valero Texas Open, and had a fantastic 2024. He's had 2 wins in his career on the PGA Tour. He's only 22 years of age. He turned professional at 17.
I didn't know that.
Kevin Na turned professional as a teenager coming out of California. It's been done before. It's rare. And he's going to be, facing some serious headwinds as far as, strength and maturity and travel and tournament golf and that kind
There's
of
no team to support you. You're not on a bus with all the other basketball players or football players. It's hard.
Exactly. It's very hard. You go back to a hotel room or a house.
17.
It's a very strange existence. It's the structure, the team support that you speak about is a very different item in golf and tennis than it would be in team sports. So it's a fascinating story. I wish him well. I don't know what the hurry is. I don't know why you wouldn't want to graduate high school and, maybe even play a year of college golf after seeing what Spieth has done and Thomas has done and Scheffler's done. There are other avenues to go, especially nowadays with this NIL. NIL is actually in golf too. It's crazy. And you can make a couple of dollars playing college golf for a year. You don't need to rush to the pros anymore. You've seen that with Caitlin Clark staying at Iowa, making more money there than going to the WNBA. You've seen it in college football and college basketball as well. So I wish him well. I think he's awfully young. It's going to be a very difficult road, but he is going to get, I think, some sponsor exemptions because some sponsors are going to want to see him at their PGA Tour events. So he's going to get an opportunity. But he doesn't have a PGA Tour card. He has no professional status. So that's going to be a very challenging road for him moving forward. But certainly the kid can play.
I wish him all the luck in the world. I would go on the under. I mean, I just think it's too young.
Yeah, I would. If I was Chuck Todd and had 2-11-1 the last couple of weeks, I'd take the under for the table limit.
Wow, little.
He's coming out of left field. Wow. All right, Sands.
Well, Ma's going to go 2-4, and Todd's going to go 2-11-1. What are we doing?
Is that not too bad? Not too good either.
I'm going with the bunkie every time.
Thank you, Steve. Steve Sands, boys and girls, our favorite person in the world, Steve Sands. We'll take a break. We will come back with email and jingle. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is the Rosetta Stone read. This Christmas, give the gift that truly keeps on giving. A lifetime membership to Rosetta Stone. It's perfect for anyone looking to learn or improve their language skills. Maybe they want to immerse themselves in a new culture, or maybe they just want to be able to yell at other cars in traffic in a totally different language. That's fun. Whatever the reason, Rosetta Stone has you covered. Rosetta Stone has been a trusted expert for 30 years with millions of users and 25 languages offered, like Italian, German, Dutch, and many more. Utilizing fast language acquisition, Rosetta Stone immerses you in many ways. There are no English translations, so you really learn to speak, listen, and think in that language. Plus, it's convenient with desktop and app options and an audio companion that gives you the ability to download lessons offline. Best of all, it's an amazing value. Lifetime membership gives you all 25 language courses Rosetta Stone offers for 50% off, which is a steal. Don't put off learning that language. There's no better time than right now to get started. Today, listeners to this high-quality podcast can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. Visit rosettastone.com/Tony. That's 50% off unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Redeem your 50% off at rosettastone.com/Tony today for yourself or as a gift that keeps giving.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Said the orange man to littles everywhere.
This is Kirsten Onstead.
Listen to what I say. Listen to what I say. There must be free food and parking there. Listen to what I say. Listen to what I say. A box, and a box of that, and leave 2 robes hanging on the rack. And leave 2 robes hanging on the rack. Said the orange man to the underling, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Invite me, but I won't go to your thing. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? A star, that's who the I am.
It's Kirsten Onstead.
Always love hearing
Who
from
is,
Kirsten.
by the way, a pastor's child, as she writes.
That's right.
Hitting the high notes.
Pastor's child. She's amazing.
And you'll leave early.
Oh, you want to? Yeah.
I can't believe you get someone with this talent to sing for you.
She's really good.
She's amazing.
We have a lot of people with really
No,
good
there's
talent.
no doubt.
Really
There's
good.
no doubt.
Do you want to do the Bethesda
Missing a
Bagel
little bit of
ad?
French horn.
Do you ever play the French horn anymore? Have you do it for your children?
I do, yes. Just to make sure it does my embouchure. Doesn't totally go away.
What is that word?
Embouchure.
What does that mean?
So when you pierce your lips and you play a brass instrument, and actually you play a woodwind instrument, but it's sort of how you pierce your lips to play. To play, it's just referred to.
I never heard the word.
Your embouchure, and the only thing is my muscles in here. It's like
in your face,
in your
by
lips,
your mouth,
right?
Yes.
By your mouth. It's like any muscle if you don't use it,
atrophies.
Right, and so I can do pretty well for about 10 minutes, and then literally my lips will swell up.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not frequently playing.
Little known facts about people playing brass.
Yeah,
horns.
did not know any of that. What I do know is Bethesda Bagel.
Yeah.
We love them. You will as well. Just go to Bethesda
Chuck
Bagel.
is going to get a bagel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his payment. He gets a
That's
bagel.
your reward.
Yeah, no sandwiches. No
Not today.
sandwiches. Wednesdays. Sandwiches are for winners. First, second place.
Yes,
You
take
get a
knives.
bagel. Third place. Yeah.
Get out of here.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Jaworski's back.
You're fine.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Before we get to the mailbag, let me just say, hey, where did we go? Days when the rains came down in the hollow playing a new game. Laughing and running, hey, skipping and a jumping in the misty morning fog with our hearts are thumping and you, my brown-eyed girl. That's Van Morrison. I like Into the Mystic more, but that's Van Morrison.
Really
that's
good.
Van Morrison's tune. Let me thank Chuck Todd for coming in, Steve Sands for being on the phone. Thanks as well to today's sponsors. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. If you get the show through Apple, please leave us a review. From Tom O'Brien in Rockville, Mississippi.
Oh, not Rockville,
That's
Maryland.
Well, it's Rockville, MS, but it's got to be. He must have made a mistake there because it's 20850, and that's a Maryland zip code.
Yeah.
So it's Rockville, Maryland, even
Has to
though he wrote Rockville, Mississippi. Montgomery County has speed cameras, but the rules are different. First, there has to be signage in front of the camera warning it is coming up, and you have to be more than 12 miles over the limit, much fairer than the district.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable to me.
I got one in New Orleans. I was
Did you
taking
ever
my
pay
kid.
it?
What? Yes.
Oh.
Ready for this? 20. I was going 29 and a 25.
Oh,
29 and a 25.
That's-
I was
petty.
it was so we were touring Tulane.
Like a school
This was,
zone?
Yeah, it was Tulane. And it was 29 and a 25, and it was so clear. I had out of town plates. And it was just sure enough, and it was like, what am I gonna? I wanted to fight it, but you had to go in person. And you're just I'm gonna spend $500 on a plane ticket.
Right. No, you're not going to do it.
But there's a part of me that wanted to, just on principle. 29 and 25.
Kelly
take that.
Pierce, PhD at Alexandria, Louisiana. Open your brand new 2025 calendar to November 1st, 2025. Write down, go to Staples. Don't wait until the Christmas rush. What kind of hocus pocus junk is that? Most of your listeners are probably screaming at the radio saying, just buy it online already. I would discourage you from buying online and having it delivered to your house. That would encourage you to be a hermit. God knows we don't want you to be a curmudgeon and a hermit. That would be too much for Carol, Michael, and Nigel to take seriously. Go to Staples. No, that parking lot. No, it's Yoga Land.
Yeah,
it's Yoga Land.
It's done.
James Snow in Herndon, Virginia, for $50 an hour, a guy I know. Let's call him Jimmy Rain. We'll grab a can of concrete-colored paint and cover up every other parking line in the Staples garage to make the spaces more manageable. For an additional $50, Jimmy will handle the removal of that stingy stop sign on Fessenden Street. As for the moths, you're on your own. Walter Thomas Alexander. Hey, how you doing? 36 and a 25. Sounds worse than 25 or 624, which is a Chicago song. J. Grant McGuire, Huntington, West Virginia, who emailed us for years and then stopped, and now he's back. I used to drive my family from Huntington, West Virginia to New York City every year to march in the Thanksgiving parade. The Macy's Santa is a friend. On our way back one year, we were heading into rural New Jersey. We got to the first toll booth, which asked for $2.80, which we could put in the coin basket. I took out a bunch of quarters and dimes and nickels. This must have been before I routinely used Easy Pass. My wife, being my wife, wanted to get rid of some pennies, and she goes to her purse and she gives me 15 pennies. I know better than to put pennies in a toll basket, but I also know even better than to disagree with my wife. 3 days later, I receive a ticket from Easy Pass for $75 for paying with incorrect currency, those pennies. The camera took a picture of the license plate of the moron who paid in pennies. Of course, we had to pay it. Guilty, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And from Shad, about a haiku for parking garages and speed cameras. The list of items that Tony finds annoying fills a diary. From Brandon Borzelli in Lebanon, New Jersey. Let's recap. You can't navigate parking decks. You get somewhere between 6 and 10 tickets a year. You lost your Rehoboth parking pass. I did. And you can't drive confidently on I-95. I can't anymore. Seems pretty clear what the answer is here. You are ready to start flying your very own manned drone. Thanks to the perks. It's illegal to shoot you down. You get preferred parking on any rooftop you desire. You can park right on the beach. You no longer need to navigate the Bay Bridge to get to Rehoboth. And there aren't any sort of cameras handing out tickets. You'll be bigger than U.S. Steel. From Brian Lipman in Wilmington, Massachusetts, not Revere. This Saturday, December 21st, I will be driving, so that's in 2 days, 3 days?
Yeah.
I'll be driving through the D.C. area on my way to Florida from Boston. I've done the drive before with my wife, and each time using Waze, we inevitably end up stuck in traffic in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody in America. No one understands this. Everybody gets caught. We have used the express lanes before, but these only help so much, and they end, and you wind up merging back with the local traffic lanes. Someone I met recently from D.C. said I could take Route 1 down through Delaware, but that looks like it hugs the coast, and I don't know where I would cut over to get to Virginia. Is there any guidance you can provide to help lessen the pain of D.C. area traffic? If you read this on the air, please include Eat It, Mike Bush.
So where's he coming from?
He's coming from Boston. If you take one, you're going to go through the Chesapeake Bay Tunnel.
You could do the 8166.
That's way west.
It's
and
way
81,
west.
people are going 300 miles an hour.
I know, but it does
and they're
move.
trucks.
But it does move.
They're trucks. From Steve Gilmore, San Angelo, Texas. Since you're losing the battle with the moths, it's time for drastic measures. Hide Swedish fish in the sweaters and let them break their teeth on them. They will give up due to high dental pills and move on down the road.
Some of
I have
Garcia's
lost
characters.
7 sweaters.
They count 7 now?
7 sweaters. 4 of which I have tried to repair. 1 of which is in for repair a second time. I've lost 7 sweaters to these creatures. Michael Roberson, you want to save your cashmere sweaters? Store them in Ziploc bags. That's it. I asked Carol to send away for Ziploc bags. Instead, she sent away for pieces of cedar, which I have hung up. I've hung up the pieces of cedar near the sweaters. but I would prefer to put them.
I'll get you some of the big storage bags. Use a vacuum to
Yeah,
take
there's
out all
one
the air.
Where you just do the zipper bags. Yeah.
Ray Saunders, North Beach, Maryland. Slow Horses and Landman. That's it. That's the list. Again, the agency incomprehensible through 3.
Yeah,
through 3.
Yeah.
Everyone says, "Oh, the 4th makes it clear."
The 4th is
okay.
Makes it all come together.
Mrs. Todd and I kind of like the agency.
You do?
Yeah.
You don't find it incomprehensible?
Well, you have to pay attention.
I was paying attention.
Yeah, this isn't a second screen show. There is some of that, but
Do you watch Landman?
Not yet.
Do you watch Slow Horses?
Yes.
And that's...
Well, Mrs. Todd dropped off Slow Horses. That was it.
What season?
I'm caught
Right,
up.
but when did she
dropped off after 2.
After 2?
It was just, again, too much paying attention.
Tom Daly, New Haven, Connecticut. Here are 2 more reasons to watch Slow Horses. One of the stars, Jack Lowden, is that how it's pronounced, was married earlier this year to your girl, Saoirse Ronan, who's great actress. And the show's theme song, Strange Game, was written and performed by one Sir Michael Philip Jagger.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a good
Eric
it's a great
Robertson,
theme song.
Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. As the great nephew of a honeybee farmer in rural Nova Scotia, may I recommend whipped honey. Contrary to other listeners' recommendations, you never want to place your honey in a microwave, as this will zap away all the nutrients in the honey. Instead, fill a mason jar with raw honey. That sounds like Wild Honey and the Beach Boys. And place it on a pot on the stove, your lowest heating setting. Again, a higher, even medium setting will boil the honey and lose the nutrients for about 4 to 6 hours until fully soft. Then take an electric hand mixer and whip the honey until it becomes a creamy, whitish substance. This will keep its consistency for many weeks in the cupboard and makes for easier spreading or drizzling on top of yogurt and berries like my toddler likes to do. I'll hang up and await the results. I'm looking at you, Michael.
I don't have that kind of time.
That sounds like an hours of
sounds
time.
like a chemistry project for the kids.
From Mark Hughes in Ashton, Maryland. When the term hinky dinky came up on your show, a little said that Vince Lombardi used that term in Jerry Kramer's book Instant Replay. I know that book. I read that book in 1969. The same year, WINX Radio in Rockville, not North Bethesda, offered a free radio to the person who knew where Fuzzy Thurston went to college. I remember that Instant Replay had a list of the 1967 Green Bay Packers and where they went to school. Sure enough, there it was. Fuzzy Thurston went to Valparaiso. I called in and won the radio. Boys and girls, that's how you won radio contests long before the internet came along. Yeah, it was one-on-one for
Go to the reference desk.
Mo Moriarty again. We liked him the last time from Weathersfield, Connecticut. I'm starting a yacht rock band featuring Chinese musical musicians and a boat of ancient design. We're going to be called Hocus Pocus Junk. That's funny. Love you guys, Mo. The junk, the Chinese junk, just an actual boat.
Yes.
Alan Caswell, Virginia Beach. UNC's a basketball school? Are you kidding me? In 1997, Mac Brown was heading into season ranked number 1, and a Football News magazine reporter asked basketball coach Dean Smith what he thought of having a UNC team other than the Hoops team take the top spot. Smith's response was recalled on social media after the Tar Heels beat Gonzaga 71-65 to win their 6th NCAA basketball championship on Monday night. This is a women's soccer school, Smith told the reporter. We're just trying to keep up with them. They have won 22 of the 43 NCAA women's soccer championships. Wow. Mia Hamm.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Mia Hamm. So yeah, it goes women's soccer, then basketball. That's it. Silas Alexander, Seattle, Washington. Tony, it's my birthday tomorrow. On which number would you prefer that I call? Jeff Simpson. For some, Monday mornings are the most dreaded part of the whole week, but they are the highlight of mine. All week long, I wait on the edge of my seat to learn whether or not the bagel sandwiches have been wrapped in foil or not. Chuck should have come here on Monday. It's too early to make this. Frank Kelly, Situate, Massachusetts. One of my best friends through 5th grade to today's father was the Bruins beat writer from the 50s to the late 70s, retiring right as Fitzy graduated from UMass. His dad, Tom Fitzgerald, who was the writer, passed away during the mid-'80s, and needless to say, at the line, the wake was full of Bruins past and present. The night before Thanksgiving that year, Fitzy was at his dad's home when the phone rang and he was ready to go out for what always happened on Thanksgiving Eve, impromptu reunions at the local watering hole. Fitz answered the phone. Hi, Brian, it's Bob Orr. My wife and I wanted to invite you and your mom to our house for dinner if you didn't have plans.
His friends, it's like Bob Orr at Redford.
Fitz replied that his mom was visiting her brother in California and he was having dinner with friends, the Kellys. Bob said, the BC professor? I met them at the wake. Good people. You should have seen Mom and Dad beam when Fitz told us that at the table. We've been blessed with great athletes here in Boston, but nobody compares with number 4.
Yeah.
Everyone says this.
Yeah.
And clearly his friends call him Bob.
Bob. He's not Bobby. He's not. But that happens to a lot of people named Bob. What, didn't you say Robert Redford?
Bob Redford.
Yeah.
His friends call him Bob.
Yeah. Joe Pearson, Indianapolis. When talking about the hypothetical Joey Chestnut Usain Bolt competition, Nigel asked if Joey could run. How could he impugn my neighbor like that? Chestnut lives in Westfield, Indiana, just north and a little west of me. Anyway, Chestnut is over 6 feet tall and weighs in at just over 2 1/4. I'm pretty sure he could run 100 yards. The real question is whether Bolt, who seems a proud man, would deign to learn some of the competitive eating techniques to overcome his disadvantage. It's a puzzle. Just a couple of weeks ago, Chestnut won St. Elmo's shrimp cocktail eating contest in Indianapolis, downing an event record of 21 pounds. 21 pounds of St. Elmo's notoriously hot and spicy shrimp. I've been to St. Elmo's. Everybody's been to St. Elmo's. In 8 minutes. I'm sure he paid for that later in a Chessie adjacent bag. 21
That's all
pounds.
I think about is, what is the, when you have to pay later?
Yeah, the bill comes.
I mean, that is a rough...
Elliot Olshansky now in Del Mar, New York, which is up near Albany, right, Del Mar? So you tell us that James Carville is 3-1, but you don't give us his picks other than Memphis in the Frisco Bowl. Come on, man. What are we doing out here, man? I thought...
All right, I think we're going to call that an episode. We're going to say we made it back to Valencia. I'm not a big fan of this airplane. I was trying to adjust the pitch so it wouldn't be just going straight up in the air at all times, but then I seemed to kill the engine, and now we're in the water. So we're going to say we made it back to Valencia. At least we saw Ibiza and Mallorca, and next time we will take off probably back in the original airplane from Valencia, Spain. We'll check it out and then continue along the coast. So that is it for this episode, this abbreviated episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 World Tour. We will see you next time.